Who's pushing buttons? Why are buttons being pushed?
We always push buttons.
Yeah, it don't always work out though, do it?
Nope. Are you streaming, or are we just not? We're just gonna go.
No, I'm streaming.
Okay.
That's how I notice what the room looks like in the webcam, and it's not great.
So
Well,
you judge your room on how bad it looks on camera.
yeah.
You don't walk in the room and go, "This looks bad. I better tidy this up."
Well, the lights were off until minutes ago. You know.
I blame your sister-in-law if she left it in such a state.
Oh, the sister-in-law's out. Now we have a girl from church that's staying here till she goes on her mission in Zimbabwe.
Okay.
Is this? Do you live in a house or do you live in like a hotel? Is it like a bedsit?
No, I live in a house.
What's going on?
No, okay, so here's the situation.
What mission is she on? Is she with Tom at the moment?
I don't know who Tom is.
Cruise.
Oh no, she.
Is it impossible? This mission?
Probably. She's over there spreading the word of God. So.
Oh yeah, that's an impossible
mission. Impossible.
Oh dear.
You're roboting out today.
Los Angeles. What? Am I?
You keep roboting out. You did that last week as well. I don't know why. Strange.
Kind of hard line.
Yeah.
No,
Stephen
can't hear you now. I can see the little red ring, but there's no talkie. Oh, now we've got you. There you go.
Is my microphone too far away?
No, the microphone's fine. Leave the microphone alone. That was nasty. So stream's working. Can everybody hear us? Are we ready to go?
That's like saying you're surprised that Mexico isn't an orange filter. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just going to roll the titles and start the show.
No, that was Dimly.
That sounds like a plan.
Welcome to Two Titans and a Hunter, a Destiny 2 podcast. Dedicated in bringing you all the latest information, news, and opinions. This is the best show for new and veteran Guardians alike, where we share tips, tricks, and tools to help you succeed and enjoy playing even more. So with all that said, let me hand you over to your hosts, the Triumph Hunting Titan Nitedemon, the pink-panted pansy Peroty, and your Hunter Master Ranger, Mr. No One Respawns in Real Life!
So, welcome back to the show this week. I have again gathered the best team that we have to go through all the stuff that's come out this week about Destiny 2. We have Noble returning. We have Respawn returning. And at some point, we should have a Donnie returning. So, I think if we just jump into stuff, we can start. If we just jump into what's happened this week, and we'll go from there, I guess. And when Donnie arrives, Donnie arrives. So, and I'm Nitedemon, by the way, if you missed it, because if you haven't been here before, welcome. Respawn, do you want to welcome the new people? Didn't hear that at all.
No, apparently not. Apparently, he didn't want to welcome anybody.
What?
Whatever you did, whatever you said, it just green ring came up, and that was it. Nothing. Try it again.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I said we have no new people.
The new Respawn army followers.
I'm at over 300 now. No, I'm not.
No, I'm just in general.
In general, nobody likes me. They say I smell funny, and my mom dresses me like a troll, which is kind of mean, but whatever. They're allowed to have their opinions.
I do have a question for you, though.
What?
Hunter Master Ranger, the leader of the Hunter Vanguard.
Yes.
How do you feel after this week's cutscene? Let's not discuss it too deep.
Yo,
because people haven't played it. Again, you've cut out.
He's gone again.
This is going to be the best show ever.
It's going to be great, this. Look at him. I don't know if you're watching his stream, but he's hugging himself, he's smiling, he's so happy. And none of it's audible.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on.
Now
are you working off of a McDonald's Wi-Fi that's next door?
No, my Wi-Fi shows that I'm fine. It might be a problem with my mic itself cutting out, because I'm golden in Discord. I'm golden over here in OBS, but you guys are breaking up.
So yeah, let's not spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen the cutscene, hasn't done the final mission this week.
Yeah,
But you're happy, are you, that he's back?
dude.
We finally get to see
all
him.
I'm saying is I called this so long ago, and me and Don, since he's coming to the show anyway, had a long form conversation about this exact thing that happened, and I called it before it happened. Tell me I don't know my man Cade. Oh, I called it.
The funny thing is, I did see a leaked image of that whole kind of setup that they kind of been mirroring for quite some time with like Cade and Crow, and then Crow and Amanda, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
No, it wasn't. Well, yeah, it was Amanda Holiday.
The one that
and then and then Zavala as well, and Crow. That whole kind of one on the floor, one standing up, giving the hand kind of thing. So yeah, a lot of repetition there. But if you haven't played the final mission, it should send shivers down your spine if you're a Destiny 1 player, because it's like, oh my god, I've been here before, I've done this, I know where to hide, so I can survive.
Yeah.
Why hide?
Look, some people are squishy and they do it solo, and they hide.
You are the least of squishy people that I've ever met with your invincible sword build. Get out of here.
Look, I didn't take my invincible sword build with me.
Invisible sword? Whoa, hold on. Let's talk about this. I have an invisible sword build.
That's a different build.
I do, though. No, I do have an invisible sword build. It involves around, damn it, Gorfalcon's chest piece and the sword that has destabilizing rounds and repulsor brace. Constant invis, bro. It's amazing.
Cool. So Bungie have updated their final shape page this week with, and I think we did already see the weapons that are coming, because you were talking about them a couple of weeks ago, weren't you, Respawn, with like Cade's image on there with like the hearts and the diamonds and all the different things. But we can actually see the weapons on this page now, and it looks like we've got pulse rifle, shotgun, fusion rifle, hand cannon, sniper, machine gun, sword,
which page are you on?
Sidearm.
Because I got 3 open. The dead
So
man's
if
side,
you,
or where were you looking at?
If you go to the main Bungie page, you click on Destiny 2, and then you go, I want to pre-order now, and it takes you to this. It takes you to this page basically, and then if you scroll down past the Dread, past the Pale Heart, and all of that, it shows you the destination weapons, the right tools for a journey into the impossible. So yeah, you get a better view of some of the characters that are on these weapons. Looking cool.
I'm scrolling down now. Looking at the pre-order page, which I suppose I should do pretty soon. Oh yeah, these. I like the sword. I think the sword's pretty cool looking.
And then if you scroll over to the right, you get to see.
They have people on here.
Yeah, I thought you knew that because you were. I thought you were telling us about that a couple of weeks ago.
I might have. Lord, no. I was talking about the deck. Like you have the hearts,
deck of cards,
clubs. Yeah, I didn't know it had people on here. No, they have like straight up portraits and whatnot. Look at that. Oh, probably because they're probably because they're the people on the cards. You know, like the King of Spades, the Queen of Hearts, probably. So it's a person with a corresponding suit, probably. Oh, that's really cool. I love the aesthetic. I really do.
Looks very cool. And then if you scroll to the right, if you scroll past the weapons that we went over last week, and then you scroll past the armor that's going to be available, the next item that you see is the new Warlock exotic, and that's all we know is it's the helmet that looks like the speaker.
Yeah,
is for the Warlock. We don't know any other details. And then we have, if you keep scrolling past that one, you then have the new boots for the hunters.
Yep, see that too.
Look like they've got wire mesh all over them. And then you go past the hunter chest piece that we discussed last week, and then the Titan chest piece that we discussed last week, and then the Titans get another pair of gauntlets that look mechanized.
They look mechanized, but there's also what looks like a horn on there. Look at that. It's almost like it's alive. You see that horn or that little bit of Ahamkara or whatever? And if you look at it, it's bolted. That piece of fleshy or bone material is bolted with those 3 green bolts to your arm like a shoulder pad. So whatever that is,
pretty cool.
Yeah, right? So it looks like they took a piece of flesh, literally bolted onto a mech piece of armor. That's clearly got to be Strand. I mean, it is super green with a lot of like Strand, like especially at the knuckles. It looks very Strandy. You know what I mean?
Strandy.
It does.
Yeah, looks very Strandy.
So I wonder what's going on with that. And the elbow and the tricep part look like the Hunter exotic that makes our dustfield grenades bigger. So I wonder if that has anything to do with that. I don't know. But yeah,
I don't know either.
It's probably going to be something I hate, knowing Bungie. So.
Oh, don't say that. You do like some things. Oh, I suppose so, because it's a Titan thing.
Mm-hmm. Now
and then everything.
Yeah. Did you see the ViDoc that we had yesterday that was called Becoming Legend Part 1, Confronting Oblivion? And they go through kind of the details of how they came up with the idea of some of the areas looking like body parts, but not looking like body horror, but more kind of just ingrained and kind of integral to kind of the Pale Heart and how they've built it and things like that. Did you see that one yesterday? Because that had some juicy
I was working
tidbits
all day yesterday. I didn't even know there was a ViDoc.
Yeah, it's only a 9-minute ViDoc, and then we've got another one coming later on today, which is Shaping the Magic. So they are really dropping like nugget after nugget after nugget of information. I feel slightly overloaded this week. I don't know about you guys with the amount of information. It feels like we got to a point where they weren't talking about anything, and then suddenly it just went, bleh, here, have everything. It's like,
well, it's probably because the sales aren't doing as good as they wanted the sales to be doing. So they're trying to get people, look at all the cool stuff we got going. Come pre-order, da-da-da-da-da. Because historically, people have been not getting the pre-orders like they used to because of their disappointments, right? And I'm not saying it's entirely Bungie's fault. It is, but that's not what I'm saying. And they might just be trying to be like, look, no, you really should pre-order this time because of reasons, Yeah. So, yeah.
But one thing that was quite interesting in this new ViDoc is that the new Dread units apparently have their own language. And apparently you can decipher it if you want to kind of learn how they talk. And one of the guys goes through and actually says a sentence of Dread, and then he kind of says what it actually is in English. And they're like,
Dread or Dredge? I didn't
Dread. The Dread. You know the Dread, the new enemies? They have their own language, and apparently it's translatable.
Is it Klingon? It's probably Klingon, isn't it?
It's not Klingon. But
I'd be so happy if it was Klingon.
But what I'm thinking is with this, that this is going to play into maybe possible things of unlocking, or people could not like raid spoilers, but like kind of little nuggets, like it could hint at like something that's coming later, or help you kind of figure out a puzzle in the raid or a dungeon later on down the line. That there'll be a whole kind of translation of the Dread that we could then go back and listen to different things, or people will, and kind of interpret what's going to be just some secrets basically are going to be revealed by actually interpreting what they're coming out with. What do you reckon?
I reckon somebody probably is going to translate that. Yeah.
It wouldn't be unlike them, because I mean, like, look at what they've done in the past with certain things, like from the special edition of Shadowkeep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
there was the I can't think of what the artifact was called now, but you received one, didn't you, with one of the special editions, and that turned out that there was little tidbits of information within that as well, didn't it?
Yeah, I just found it quite interesting, the fact that they dropped that in this ViDoc, and it's like, you wouldn't drop that in if it wasn't significant for some point later on down the line. So I reckon raid secrets are beyond that.
I mean, these are the same people that made us do binary for freaking a raid. So
nobody made you do binary. There's no point that you did binary.
Yeah, no, for the raid when you had to use binary code to figure out what panels to push in what order to get.
Did you personally use binary, or did you wait for somebody else to figure it out?
No, I know binary. I know binary, hexadecimal. I know base 10, base whatever you want to use. Right? It's just binary is just a base.
I'm not disputing whether you know it. I'm just saying, did you use it to figure stuff out?
Absolutely, you had to use it to get the outbreak perfected, dude, or prime back then.
No, you just waited for the guide.
I
At
did
no
not
point
see it.
do I ever remember you telling me that you used your own knowledge to kind of figure out the binary code to get your outbreak perfected.
Nobody did.
I was waiting for a response then, but he's gone quiet again. No green ring this time. Are we okay? Is it just me talking?
No. I'm still here
Okay.
as well. I'm just looking to see. Well, just wait to see what happens with.
Yeah. I never
Spawn.
know. Are you watching his stream? Has he kind of fallen off his chair or something?
No, I'm not at the moment. Actually, I've come off his stream.
Oh no, there we go. He's cutting in and out. Look, we're on the East Coast, man. We're on your servers.
Yeah.
He's roboting in and out. So bless him. So apart from all of that at the beginning of the week, we then got the first developer insight for this week of the Final Shape ability tuning preview, which goes over all the subclasses, all the different changes that are coming with it, all the new verbiage that we're getting, and all the tweaks and the new aspects, fragments are kind of detailed. And I think they kind of did warn us at the beginning of the week and said, look, this week is going to be mega packs. You're going to have one developer insight on Wednesday, another one on Thursday, and then you're going to have the TWAB on Thursday. They didn't even tell us that we're having the 2 ViDoc videos, plus everything else they're kind of dropping here, there, and everywhere. So it's
all the little videos that they're putting out.
Yeah, it's amazing, all the different stuff. So should we'll dive straight into the developer insight of the week on Wednesday, I take it. So, hey folks, Combat Gameplay team here for a rundown of the ability changes coming with the launch of the Final Shape in just a few short weeks. As a warning, this is one of our largest balance patches in recent years, so you may want to settle in for a long read. And here's a brief overview of what we'll be covering today and what we will be covering for you today as well. So, update to a large portion of the Stasis ability suite, including our new keywords, Frost Armor. This is something we kind of discussed a couple of weeks ago. I'm sure it came up when they were talking about the Final Shape, and somewhere it mentioned Frost Armor, and somebody said, "Oh no, that's something. That's what it's called," and we just kind of we call it something else, or it's something else in the game. But it is. They've officially said Frost Armor is the new kind of keyword. We're also going to be talking about the near future of Well of Radiance and Ward of Dawn in the Final Shape. As we kind of warned you last week, they were going to be touched. So this is them touching that. A subclass by subclass breakdown of balance changes, abilities, aspects, fragments, including but not limited to those included with Prismatic.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
So I don't know what's going on. I think my mic is actually going bad.
Okay. Well, you sound echoey now.
I'm having to use a set of headphones now.
Oh. Well, where's the other mic?
The other one is, I don't actually know where it's at after the move.
You are definitely an editor's worst nightmare.
I'm sorry. It's not intentional.
I know it's not, and the listeners know it's not. So there we go.
Why are you making me feel bad, man?
No, he's not.
Wow. I have feeling.
You have feeling.
So we are talking about the Stasis subclass respawn. So shortly after the release of Stasis, they shifted focus to the back-to-back launch of the Bungie 30th Anniversary and Void 3.0, and they haven't really let up on the gas since. As a result, in the Final Shape, they wanted to, in particular, upgrade the Stasis Shard Overshield that lived on the fringes of the damage type to make it a full-on keyword that they could incorporate into abilities, armor, and weapon perks. So Frost Armor is a stacking buff that reduces incoming damage, with greater damage reduction as your stacks increase. At launch, Frost Armor will be granted from a variety of sources, including the Tectonic, Grim, Glacial Harvest aspects, fragments, and exotic armor. By default, you can build into a maximum number of 5 stacks of Frost Armor, and that lasts for 9 seconds. But with the newly reworked Whisper of Rime fragment, Frost Armor's maximum lifetime increases to 13 seconds and can be built into a maximum of 8 stacks. Unlike the Stasis Shard Overshield, Frost Armor remains active when your super is cast, though its effectiveness is significantly lowered while your super is active.
That's not bad, because otherwise that would have been a lot of damage reduction within PvP, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So that's not bad that you get 5 stacks to start off with, and then you can build into it with the fragments and the aspects and things and make 8 stacks as well.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So your new Frost Armor keywords. You are fortified by layers of durable stasis matter, Reducing incoming damage, Frost Armor damage resistance grows stronger as you gain additional stacks. Reduces damage from PvE combatants by 4.5% per stack, and from enemy players, so Crucible, 2% per stack. Whisper of Rhyme rework no longer grants Stasis Shard Overshield when collecting a Stasis Shard, but now increases the maximum duration of stacks count on your Frost Armor. And one long-standing piece of feedback they've received is that Stasis Shards felt a little too limited, requiring a specific aspect to generate. Because the Stasis Shards are created for all allied players at once, rather than being a shared consumable resource like Tangles, or a local-only resource like Fire Sprites, Ionic Trace, or Void Breach, it would be easy for the number of Stasis Shards on the field to spiral out of control if we were to make their creation intrinsic to the damage type. Instead, we're increasing the number of sources that players can build into to generate them, more on this shortly, and increasing their value when collected with a Harvest aspect equipped. When Tectonic, Grim, or Glacial Harvest is equipped, in addition to their previous behaviours, collecting any Stasis Shard now grants a small amount of health and a stack of Frost Armor. Alongside this increases potency, we're also implementing a shared cooldown on rapid Stasis Shard creation. This cooldown is intended to be pretty generous, and primarily limits the cases of oppressive behaviour like triple Behemoth Titans in Trials. All Harvest aspects added new behaviours, while Grim, Tectonic, and Glacial Harvest is equipped. Stasis Shards grant a small amount of health and a stack of Frost Armor. Large Stasis Shards from Grim Harvest grant more health and more Frost Armor stacks. All Harvest aspects now have a standardised cooldown when a large number of shards are created very quickly, and Tectonic Harvest now creates a Stasis Shard when shattering a frozen target in addition to shattering Stasis Crystals. Their intention is that Frost Armor can be granted through a variety of sources. As part of this, they're updating the Renewal Grass and Ballador's Wrathweavers to directly grant Frost Armor, rather than give their own custom damage resistance or Stasis Shard Overshield. So the Renewed Grasps replace generic damage resistance with Frost Armor. On entering your Dustfield Grenade volume, you or your allies gain a stack of Frost Armor. About every 0.9 seconds while in the volume, an additional Frost Armor stack is granted, resetting your timer. Ballador's Wrathweavers replaces Stasis Shard Overshield with Frost Armor when you activate your Rift or you're using Winter's Wrath Shatter Attack. And to help increase players' capabilities to generate Stasis Shards, we've created a brand new fragment that offers a straightforward method that can be slopped into many different builds, and this is going to be called Whisper of Chill. And the Whisper of Chill is Stasis Weapon Final Blows have a chance to create a Stasis Shard.
Now, are hunters going to be able to freeze things in PvP again without the use of a super? Because that would be nice.
Well, it sounds like your Dustfield Grenade, you can freeze things, you stand in it, and you're going to get armor stacks as well, which is going to be quite nice, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, it's going to make us even tougher while we're in the grenade. It's going to be like a little bubble, which I like, right? But it still doesn't address the fact that we can't freeze things. We can slow, but like even if we hit somebody with both of our shurikens, we can't freeze them. Both of our empowered melees cannot freeze somebody. That's ridiculous. Warlocks can freeze with a rift. Warlocks can freeze with a melee. Titans can freeze with a melee. Titans can freeze with a barricade, assuming the barricade's close enough to hit you with the crystals. But hunters cannot freeze outside of like a grenade or a super, and that's ridiculous. And I was hoping they
you were too tough for too long, and you just need to be taken into the sun and burnt.
2 shurikens do not freeze, dude. Like, if you look at the stacks of slow that 2 shurikens give you, you have to have 100 stacks to freeze somebody. Each shuriken only gives you, 40? You cannot freeze with 2 shurikens.
Look,
mathematically speaking, you can't.
You get what you get, and that's what you get, and that's all you get.
Mm-hmm.
Got it? Good.
Yeah, no, it's not good. It's terrible. It's awful.
But they want to make Whisper of Change fully successful. It requires cooperation from teammates in a way that sometimes took success out of the user's hands. So this resulted in situations where by shattering a stasis crystal for damage, players could unknowingly reduce theirs or their teammates' combat effectiveness. This introduced a negative social friction that we wanted to remove outright. So they've pivoted the Whisper of Chains to instead focus on chaining creation of stasis shards and frost armor when paired with the harvest aspect. So Whisper of Change no longer grants passive damage resistance when near a stasis crystal or frozen target. Now grants a chance to create a stasis shard when defeating a target while you have 1 or more stack of frost armor. Next on our list for frost armor fragment reworks is the Whisper of Fractures. with Stasis Shards granting melee energy as a base behavior, relying on a difficult-to-read passive melee energy regeneration bonus felt like a place that we could reduce overlap and build in support for the new keyword. So Whisper of Fractures no longer increases melee energy regeneration while surrounded by enemies, but it now grants a stack of frost armor when you shatter any frozen target with a melee attack. And their final fragment rework is Whisper of Torment. This fragment is a sleeper pick that does its job well, but its actual output has too many variables to keep a track of and requires the player to be at critical health for its larger bonus, so we're simplifying it a little bit. So Whisper of Torment, the grenade energy gains are no longer dependent on your current health value. So the base grenade energy regeneration amount per incoming damage event increased from 5% to 7%, whilst you have Frost Armor, energy per damage event increases from 7 to 12%. And finally, they've created one more brand new Stasis fragment. Stasis really getting a lot of love here. This is the Whisper of Reversal. It's a close combat tool for our Frost Armor users, adding the chance for an additional crowd control if you're willing to take the risk. So that's the Titans, basically. Whisper of Reversal. While you have Frost Armor, dealing or receiving physical melee damage, not projectile melee, slows your victim or attacker. That could be paired quite nicely with the AC/DC feedbacks. I could see that actually kind of, if you're getting punched by somebody, especially in Crucible, that would kind of freeze them and then they get a shock back. While we want the focus of Stasis to be primarily in a high-value crowd control abilities, in the current sandbox, shattering a frozen target doesn't always result in the payout that other damage types are available to deliver with their capstone keywords, especially in high-difficulty activities. Your abilities to capitalize on a freeze can lead to a dire consequence. To help address this, we're bumping up the shatter damage versus PvE combatants from 200 to 400. Now, note, this does not affect the Stasis Crystal detonation, but simultaneously we're fixing an issue where boss combatants receive double damage from auto-shattering, so we don't want to quadruple the shatter damage. And the Stasis Shatter? No, you're not allowed. So as I said, damage is 200 to 400. Fixed an issue where boss auto-shattering would be hit by 2 instances. And they fixed an issue where players in an active super would show immune damage flyouts when automatically breaking out of stasis freeze. Now we're going to go into individual class by class.
No,
so
hold
the
on.
Warlocks,
Back up a little bit.
No.
Can they at least... No, it's about what you just said.
Go on
Can
then.
they update the description to actually tell you how to get out of being frozen? Because, like, for me, it says press V to unfreeze, right? But that doesn't do anything. You have to press it once, then press it again and hold it to unfreeze, right? So you basically have to double press and then hold, right? If I hold V like the screen tells me to do, it will not unfreeze me.
Okay.
You know? And I just thought it was me or anything like that. And then Mike and a couple other people said, no, you have to press it once, then press it again, and you have to hold it that second time to break out. I'm like, what the? It doesn't say that. It's just press it.
No, I think it does say that. I can't remember.
It says like
I've happily tapped I push and tap and hold, and I either die or I get out of it.
I just die. I think it's so much quicker.
It is. I don't want to die. The only time I get frozen is in PvP, and it's aggravating.
It's just easier. You can just die. Just take the death respawn. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
So Warlocks are going to get their Ice Flare bolts increased. They increase the maximum number of Seekers created before going on a cooldown from 5 to 7. Because Shadebinders are largely in a good shape across all game modes. That's what Bungie say. Hunters, Winter Shroud. They're going to add a new behavior. Slow targets briefly increases your class ability regeneration rate. And the bonus is reduced in PvP. And now grants PvE damage reduction when activated.
Of course.
So, because this is to do with the Winter Shroud and including in the Prismatic Hunter kit, so they want to increase the viability in high difficult content where getting up close and personal gets much riskier, especially for you hunters.
But no PvP bonuses, though. No, that's reserved for the Warlocks and the Titans. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. No. It literally just said it reduced in PvP.
Okay.
Literally just said that.
Touch of Winter. Touch of Winter has been widely used by our Stasis Hunter players since its introduction in Season of the Splicer, primarily when paired with the Dustfield Grenade for a high uptime zone denial, or Glacier Grenade for a Shatter Dive combo. The latter has struggled in PvE content in recent seasons, And the sandbox has matured, so they're going to make a change to increase the PvE potency without returning to an era of the Crucible where you had to fear rounding a corner to be barraged with a barrage of ice. So in addition, Touch of Winter's Cold Snap Grenade upgrade has been widely underused since its inception, so we're implementing a larger rework to its functionality. So the Touch of Winter, the Glacier Grenades, added an additional stasis crystal to the ring formation, increasing total count from 6 to 7. And the Glacier Grenade ring now forms over 0.27 seconds rather than instantly. And the Cold Snap Grenades no longer chains an additional time without Touch of Winter equipped. Instead, Seekers now duplicate when they freeze a target. Second and third Seeker chains now create a medium and large stasis crystal respectively, rather than every chain creating a small crystal. Silence and Squall. It's still effective at locking down a room full of enemies, but they've done a small touch-up on its ability to roam the battlefield and how quickly it converts from a slow to a freeze on PvE combatants. So Silence and Squall, they've increased the maximum travel speed by 10%, and the Squall Storm now slows down when any target is within its area of effect to reduce the instances where it could overshoot its target. So they've increased the damage and the slow tick rate versus PvE combatants by about 40%, and bringing its freeze time up from approximately 0.8 seconds to 0.5 seconds. So there you go. You get a bit more freezing respawn.
Like I said, with a
That's PvE, though.
super...
Yeah, he's also looking for changes in PvP, isn't he, as opposed to PvE.
But he doesn't play PvP.
Well, I do keep thinking this, but it does seem like he is trying to make an effort to actually play PvP and get better at it. Like he was asking about it last night when he was arguing with him.
Yeah.
He's been looking for it since we started reading this. It seems like he is looking for an excuse to go like, hey, okay, this is what I need to be doing in PvP.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's part
it's
of the
not
game
something
that I
I'm
don't
used to
enjoy.
hearing from him.
No.
Yeah.
But it does seem that way.
So Titans, the behemoth players, I think Peroty would like this one because he's always saying, drunken toddlers. That is basically what we are. So they're going to make some quality of life improvements. They're making Shiver Strike and Glacial Quake more reliable and improving the ease of use for Diamond Lance to fit into the cadence of the combat of the Prismatic Titan and tweaking Cryoclasm to be more intuitive. So Shiver Strike is a melee ability with a high barrier to entry, and while that is intended at high levels, there are instances where it can misread the player's intent and fail to find a target as a result. So to help mitigate this, they're increasing its ability to find and lunge towards targets in a now larger search area and increasing the damage versus PvE combatant targets. And these changes also affect the Glacier Quake light attack. In addition, Glacial Quake will now auto-sprint when the player starts moving forward, so no more awkwardly bashing your face into a crystal when you were meant to shatter after performing a heavy slam. So the Shiver Strike, increasing damage versus PvE combatants by 10%, increase the size of the melee search target cone by about 50%, and increase the maximum lunge tracking angular speed from 7 degrees per second to 21 degrees per second. And the Glacier Quake now automatically begins sprinting when the player throttles forward. And then we've got a rework to Cryoclasm. So the Cryoclasm removed the sprint time requirement. Cryoclasm now on a cooldown from 4 seconds after one extended slide. And Diamond Lance, they're going to make a couple of quality life changes to that to make it easier on the battlefield. And this is going to be for PvP, isn't it? Yeah. Improving its ease of use by increasing the size of its throwing projectile detonation versus all targets and its slam attack versus PvE combatants. So increase the throwing Diamond Lance detonation radius from 3.5 meters to 5. Increase the Diamond Lance slam detonation radius from 6.75 meters to 8 meters versus PvE combatants only. Diamond Lance now shatters stasis crystals on direct impact, and they've reduced the Diamond Lance pickup interaction from 0.2 seconds to 0.1 seconds, matching strand tangles, and increased the Diamond Lance pickup interaction radius from 0.7 meters to 3 meters, matching the strand tangles. That's a good thing. I think you'll probably see a lot more Diamond Lances in Crucible now. It's one of those ones that...
Hold on,
every now and then.
Stop. It's a good thing that we're going to see more Diamond Lances in Crucible. That sounds awful. That sounds awful. What?
I've come across some Diamond Lance Titans that really know how to play the Diamond Lance. And they are amazing in Crucible.
And how much damage do one of these Diamond Lances do? And they're ranged and melee, right? So you can hit somebody with it or you can throw it. Am I correct in that?
Yeah.
So even more crap for Titans to kill you with in PvP. Lovely.
Hey, you could pick up a Diamond Lance as a hunter.
Yeah.
Somebody else's.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying though. So theoretically, if you've used your grenade, you could, if you are playing with a team, let's say, of Titans.
Yeah, I noticed you cleared your voice a couple of times there, but
that wasn't purposely. You could be stealing that off them as well and saying like, oh well, I haven't got my melee back, so I'm going to steal this and I'm going to go off and do that because thank you very much, Mr. Titan. Not that you'd ever rank a Titan for something, but you know.
No, I thank Titans for being my human shields quite often. I do.
Look, at the end of the day, if you want to, you can borrow our Diamond Lance anytime that I'm on your team.
How often are you going to be producing? I don't even know. I don't know how any of this is going to work out for us.
I'll tell you this, Respawn. You're not borrowing a Diamond Lance off me because it means I'm having to play PvP and I'm just not doing it for you, mate. I'm sorry.
No, it works in PvE as well.
Yeah, in PvE you can borrow them, but in PvP you can't.
You can. And it'd be borrowing my new super with my throwing axes. It'd be borrowing Diamond Lances and throwing axes, and it'd be all happy and hunky-dory about it. Won't you, Respawn?
He will be.
Yeah. So we have Well of Radiance and Ward of Dawn to talk about now. So back in November, they briefly touched on Well of Radiance and Ward of Dawn and how they were evaluating their place in the sandbox. So with the launch of the final shape, they're making some larger changes to both of these supers to push them into a more distinctive identities and to reduce the fire and forget nature of the Well of Radiance. So the Well of Radiance core fantasy has always been a supercharged healing empowering rift combo, offering a rally point for your fire team during moments of focus. In its current form, its healing and damage resistance offers effective invulnerability, which removes any other defensive option from the consideration on top of providing a sizable boost to your fire team's offensive output. So they've chosen to push the Well of Radiance further towards the offensive capabilities by allowing its radiance to persist for a short duration after the player leaves the well. And they're also pulling back on its defensive output, both damage resistance and healing rate, by a significant margin. So the Well of Radiance now grants radiance for 8 seconds when players exit the Well of Radiance area, reduces a player's survivability while standing in the Well of Radiance aura. So it reduces the healing per second from 100 to 50 health points, matching restoration times 2.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Increase the heal on cast from... No, but they've increased the heal on cast from 40 to 300, and they reduced the damage resistance versus non-boss combatants from 40% to 20, and reduced the damage resistance versus boss combatants from 40 to 10. So, yeah, bosses are going to kind of hurt, yeah. Note, damage resistance versus enemy players is unchanged. So in Crucible, where we thought this was going to be touched, because it was one of those drop your super on the point and capture the point for like trials and things, a bit like the bubble.
Like a Titan bubble, yeah.
Yeah. So this looks to me like it's just one of those, you're going to plant it and you're going to be kind of diving in and out of it like we used to do with the bubbles. You could dive into it, grab your kind of Well of Radiance, grab your Well of Radiance radiance for 8 seconds, and it may kind of pull your health up if you're kind of getting attacked, and then you dive back out, dive back in, kind of thing. You plant it somewhere it's going to be useful.
You know what I'm seeing here?
Go on.
The need of a Titan with your well. Because your well's health is based upon the sword.
Yeah.
So you get a towering barricade and you put it in front of your sword so that the enemies can't hit your sword, which is something that we were doing an awful long time ago anyway.
Well, you can also do the, like, okay, so what I was thinking here, and I'm not trying to give any Titans and Warlocks ideas, but the Warlock could pop the well, right? The Titan, what's the name of that really big shield that you have in front? Not the bubble, the one that you can move around and shoot through.
That's what he just said. The barricade. He was just talking about the barricade.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misheard you. Yeah, okay, then that.
Yeah,
he's on the same page as you. Yeah.
Got the same idea. He's probably seen it work. Like, it's something that me and other people used to do when we were doing GMs and stuff like that. Just put the barricade just in front of the sword, because the sword is basically the health point of the well.
It is. Yep. It's also a solid object, so don't shoot rockets near it.
Yep.
No. Also, I mean, it's more of a panic super now, where as before, be more of a panic super kind of the final shape, because increase the heal on cast from 40 to 300 health points. It's like, I'm going to die, I'm just going to drop it here and kind of use it as that point of kind of rallying back to. So it's more of a panic super now.
I think that's the problem as it stands at the moment, though. Well of Radiance is already a bit of a panic super.
It's even more of a panic super now.
You know, because it's so easy to get back.
The problem is this is really going to affect a lot of in-game PvP. I'm sorry, PvE.
Yeah.
Problems, right? Now, I mean, it's going to be a panic thing like a Titan bubble, like, oh crap, we're going to die, boom, pop a well, we're all max health, and it'll heal you slowly, but you're losing the damage resistance, which is
I don't know how much it's going to heal the players that are with you.
Yeah.
Is it going to heal them 300% as well?
It says on cast. It doesn't say to you on cast. It just says on cast.
Yeah, on cast, I'd assume that it's me casting it. I get that, and
I'd be the one casting it, not the hunter running golden gun.
The hunter would get some of the benefits of being healed.
Get the 300.
I'd like to presume that everybody would.
Here, I'd say yeah.
Possibly.
But either way, it's really going to the healing and the damage resistance both being nerfed. It's really going to affect in-game PvE for real.
Yeah, and so the next one really. Ward of Dawn, on the other hand, is meant to be highly defensible safe haven for you and your team. In practice, in our combat encounters, don't have a lot of opportunities for this type of gameplay to shine. So they're making a change to allow Ward of Dawn to provide defensive capabilities whilst fighting around the dome, and not just in it. So they're also reworking the Armour of Light to make your current health state whilst in the dome more understandable. So we're pushing Ward of Dawn away from its current offensive capabilities unless you specifically build into it. So Ward of Dawn, the Armour of Light is being removed. So no overshield. Ward of Dawn now immediately applies...
Please tell me that includes PvP.
It's across everywhere. They've removed the Armour of Light overshield. So Ward of Dawn now immediately applies a full void overshield to the caster and allies that enter its dome. Armour of Light is now instead granted an additional damage resistance to players inside the Ward of Dawn by 30% versus enemy players and 60% versus enemy combatants. Effective health of players inside the Ward of Dawn dome remain roughly the same as it was before for PvE combatants, and effective health of players inside the Ward of Dawn is significantly lowered than it was before versus other players in PvP, and cannot be further increased by stacking bastion barricades inside the Ward of Dawn to gain an additional overshield layer. So allies near the Ward of Dawn dome now have a void overshield trickled on over time, similar to the volume behind the bastion barricade, and no longer provides weapons of light by default. This behaviour has been removed, and the benefits of this will go to the Helm of Saint 14. And the Ward of Dawn caster now can generate additional orbs of power by defeating enemies with melee attacks in or near their Ward of Dawn dome. Additionally, they've seen that the supers above and the burst damage supers in the same tier have increasingly dominated the Crucible landscape due to their uptime. So while they do want to maintain some textures across the match when supers become available, the delta currently is a bit too high, especially in 3v3 gameplay. So to reduce this, they're making a change to all supers with the final shape. While different types of supers will have different passive regeneration times, all supers will now use the same damage base recharge rate. This means that no matter what super you have equipped, dealing a specific amount of damage to a specific enemy type will result in the same amount of super energy gained, whereas previously the value could vary by about 30%. This effectively increases the real-world uptime for our roaming supers in the slowest recharge tiers and reduces the uptime of the fastest recharging burst supers.
So you just said a lot of, like, at least 5, okay? And the thing that's getting me is, so they're removing the, like in PvP, right? The Titan, he walks into the bubble, he gets an overshield, he walks out, he walks back in, that overshield gets refreshed.
Yeah.
That sounds like it hasn't changed. So they can walk out, walk back in, and just reapply it indefinitely, right? That's one thing. The other thing is, it sounds like they have less health in there, but hold on. Removed Armor of Light overshield, and now has a void overshield. Why does that matter? Does that mean if you go in with a void weapon, it'll do more damage to the Titan?
Maybe.
You know? I I don't know. I don't understand bubbles enough to get if this is good, bad, or indifferent. I just know that bubble titans in PvP suck. You know, they'll pop it on a point, and unless you got a super or you can knock them out of it or whatever, it's just a pain in the butt. They always get at least a couple of people before they're taken out. I mean, yes, I know it's a super.
Now that in PvP they're going to be taken out a lot quicker because they've been significantly lowered.
Yeah, no, I see that, but it's like, I don't know, bro. It sounds like it's good in PvP because, these panic bubble titans that are just like, oh, I'm going to planet on B and I'm going to live here now indefinitely. Like,
yeah,
bruh, come on. But I mean, I do understand it is a super. It is supposed to be strong, but.
So what do you think about them removing kind of the cap or changing the deltas on like the supers now? Because they put them into the different tiers, didn't they? And I guess we still got the different tiers, but now we've got different. We did have different regeneration times for if you killed like enemies compared to like a Dreg would. Yeah. The scales for
you get less super for killing a Dreg than you do for killing.
Now it's kind of just across the board for all supers are going to be the same kind of deltas. That's going to be interesting to see across the board. I think that they might pull that back slightly and kind of tweak that individually again. I don't know about but what do you think?
I don't know. I keep reading that bit, trying to work out what they're actually trying to get at. Because does that mean that kills will no longer grant super energy? Because if that's
no, it means that every super is going to get the same amount of super back per energy. It means so the fast the supers that come back fast are still going to come back fast, but the supers that take longer to come back are going to come back faster as well, right? So it's basically reducing. It's not reducing the timer of the super.
Yeah, so instead of having like a 4-minute,
reducing the energy required to get a super back if you're killing enemies.
Yeah, instead of having a 4-minute and an 8-minute cooldown on a super, you're going to have a 6-minute cooldown on all supers.
Well, no, you're still going to have the 8-minute cooldown.
You're still going to have your cooldown.
Killing enemies, you'll get it back faster than you normally would. It's rewarding you for killing enemies. Is what it sounds like.
Yes. So, but it's rewarding you across the board no matter what super you've got.
Yeah.
So you could have one of the slower kind of supers that generates, but if you're getting more kills than, say, the Bubble Titan, you're going to have your super up quicker than the Bubble Titan.
Yeah.
Is what they're kind of basically saying. Whereas the Bubble Titan would intrinsically be faster than you because your delta scaling was probably lower at the time. So even if you were kind of getting loads of kills in, like, say, Crucible, you were kind of being hampered by that delta of like the bubble would always be faster because it's in a different tier, and your one was in a kind of lower tier, so it was kind of generating slower. But you were slaying out, but you still not. If you was the Bubble Titan, you were slaying out, you'd have maybe 2 times the supers kind of thing. It's just how they're kind of working it now is. If you slay, you're going to kind of get your super regardless. So, yeah.
You wait.
Oh, God. You've just been removed and put back in, and we missed all of that.
What?
Yep.
Let me restart my Discord. How about that?
Yeah.
Five minutes later.
I was having to put it back on.
There you go. Yay. That's better. So the Arc subclass respawn. Would you like to take it away with the Hunters?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So hopefully Discord will stop being such a little girl about this whole thing. In general, Arcstrider has found a solid niche in mid-level PvE content, but struggles to execute its gameplay loop at our highest tier of challenge. With a new super and aspect on the way, we are not making any large changes to the kit with this release, but we plan to evaluate how it's feeling with the full package as we go. For now, we focused on adding a keyword utility to Arc staff and increasing the uptime of Disorienting Blow to make it a stronger choice in comparison to Combination Blow. We're also increasing players' ability to survive when using Tempest Strike, which now grants a short duration of PvE damage resistance. See, my Titan fantasy of punching everything while on an Arc Hunter is coming true. Anyway, Arc Staff, heavy palm strike attacks, and heavy air slam blind enemies. Disorienting Blow, decreased base cooldown from 100 seconds to 90 seconds. And Tempest Strike added additional damage resistance versus PvE combatants when activated, lingering for a short duration after the attack. So they're not affecting my melee directly, which is kind of sad because that's what I wanted. But they are increasing the stripper pole's damage and duration and blind effects, which is also cool.
But by decreasing the base cooldown for your disorientating blows, that's going to be pretty good, especially with Liar's Handshake.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, no, Liar's Handshake, okay. So that's a non-issue because if you're rocking a build where you have Liar's Handshake, you're intrinsically going to be using the dodge ability where if you dodge near an enemy, you get your melee back instantly. So that's a non-issue. I don't even know why that was brought up, Unless for some psychotic reason you're not using the dodge that gives you your melee back and you're using the weapon reload, why would you do that if you're clearly rocking a melee build on an Arc Hunter? But, I mean, whatever. So that in itself is a non-issue because you get it back instantly. But having the stripper pole's power increased is good. That is definitely good. And the problem with that, though, is even though it is an incredibly high damaging super, the DPS is low compared to other supers because I got to be there for the full 13-second duration in order to get all my damage out, right? And most phases where that would matter, like a boss phase, they don't last that long. So, I mean, it is nice that they're doing that. It's still not really going to help in-game PvP boss mechanics, but it will help against like champions, I guess, or whatnot. So all in all, a buff is a buff. I'll take a buff, but it's not an amazing buff. Like if they would, I don't know, increase the damage of the 1-2 punch, or add blinding to the 1-2 punch, or increase the healing amount from 1-2 punch, things like that. Those would all be better buffs, in my opinion. But I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. It's a buff. And, it is what it is.
I don't think you're going to get a damage increase on that for the melee, unfortunately, because obviously the disorientating blow is what blinds and stuns your unstoppable champions, isn't it? So if you were to be able to stop a champion and then be able to have a damage buff as well, I think too many people would quickly realise that that's going to be extremely good.
Yeah,
probably one of the reasons that you've got a cooldown and not a damage buff.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because otherwise I'd love that as well. Because I mean, like, Arc Hunter is probably one of my favourite to play. It's just fun.
It is ridiculously fun. You're punching while you're healing. You're blinding. Yeah. I mean, it's fun. It's one of the very few builds that a hunter can use, which actually gets them safely in the fray to do, Titan things. Go in, punch things until they die. And I may be a hunter main, but I'm still a Marine at heart. And you know what? I want to go in and I want to live the tanky life every now and again, and it's fun.
You want to eat the crayons, just not a full box of them.
Oh, okay. Just to equip your Titan,
Just half a box of crayons.
That's not how you do
full
that.
Box.
Would you like to continue telling us about the warlocks and the rest of the Arc stuff?
Yeah, okay. So we've made a corresponding change to Stormcaller's Lightning Surge in the same vein. With more survivability when you aggressively teleport into groups of enemies, we've also increased the proximity detonation volume. Okay. We call this an arming shape for ball lightning. Oh, I forgot they could do that. Fixing an issue where the projectile would pass above a target that could damage but fail to detonate. Okay.
That's the ball lightning part, yeah.
So Lightning Surge, isn't that where they jump in the air and they shoot lightning at their feet? That's what that is, right?
I think so, yeah.
When they cast it, yeah. So additional damage resistance versus PvE combatants when activated, lingering for a short duration after the attack. And Ball Lightning increases the final arming shape size by 30%, and fixed an issue where the arming shape was offset upward, higher than the maximum damage range of the projectile's detonation. Chain Lightning has been a staple of the Stormcaller's identity since its inception, and as an upgrade to the Thunderstrike melee in the original Destiny with the introduction of Jolt in Season of Plunder and its propagation across the sandbox. However, it's started to feel a bit left behind. We're increasing the damage dealt by its chains by 100%. Wow. They're doubling the damage?
I mean, I have noticed that ball lightning thing is that when you do cast that, sometimes it does completely miss your opponent. You're like,
oh god, yeah.
I just thrown that out there. What's happened with that? Where's it gone?
The tracking and the hit registration on it is not good.
No.
Increasing its damage by 100%. That's a lot, though. Especially when you think it doesn't just chain once; it'll chain multiple times, depending on how close things are.
I've always been a super fan of the Kamehameha. Now, I understand this is probably for, clearing groups of ads or, just making it better in PvP. No, there's no PvP changes there. But, I mean, why don't they bring back the Kamehameha? Or, adjust the geomax stabilizers to make that a viable option again? Because that was always just like the fantasy warlock build. You get it back in a matter of seconds to just blast it off again. Gave you the Dragon Ball Z superhero fantasy vibe, and it was amazing.
Because it was way too good when it wasn't full stretch.
Yeah.
They need to put it into a middle ground again, don't they? You know what I mean? Like when it was at its best, when you're talking about, it was silly good.
Yes, I mean,
and now
yes.
It's just rubbish.
I mean, Chain Lightning is fine and everything, but make Warlocks great again.
Well, they're trying to. And they're not just stopping at Arc, are they? We've got a whole suite of subclasses to go through. So tell us about our Titans. What are they changing about our beloved Titans?
Titans. I'm paraphrasing. Titans are going to be even more broken. Damn it. Okay, well, that sucks. All right, Titan. Like with Tempest Strike for Hunters and Lightning Surge change for Warlocks, we're implementing the same extra damage resistance versus PvE combatants during the Thunderclap wind-up to help Titans stand their ground doing a full charge. The Thunderclap, that's when we clap your hands together.
No, it's like the Hulk where he slaps his hands together, isn't it?
You don't have a shooter that does that.
No, it's
a melee.
It's just a regular melee, man.
Oh, is it? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where you charge it, and then you. Oh,
yeah. That's what they're saying. The wind up is the charge, isn't it?
Gotcha. However, because Thunderclap doesn't allow Titans to move until the strike is finished, but you can release early, right?
You can but again, you still can't move.
Yeah, no, I got you. I just thought that you were like locked into the animation until it's done or whatever. Okay, I see. Yeah. But you can release it early. All right, so we're increasing both the minimum and maximum damage. We're increasing both the minimum and the maximum damage output to help offset the trade-off in mobility against PvE combatants. Okay, just PvE.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. We're also increasing the maximum damage output versus play. Damn it!
I was waiting till you got to the next bit.
I heard his disappointment the first time. I thought, no, that's coming later, mate.
I've got away with it. Damn it.
Yeah, I thought I did. See, this is why I don't read this ahead of time, because you miss stuff like this. We're also increasing the maximum damage output versus players to ensure that a fully charged Thunderclap can overcome a player damage resistance or overshields. In other words, it's going to one shot. But it's not going to one shot because Titans can no longer one shot. But they have
just read read what they've got with the increase.
Thunderclap added additional damage resistance versus PvE combatants when activated, lingering for a short duration after the attack. Increase maximum damage versus PvE by 20%. Increase minimum damage versus PvE combatants by 20. Increase maximum damage in PvE versus by 33. and increase maximum damage versus enemy players by 14%. It's probably just over the threshold to one-shot somebody with an overshield. It's been difficult, and again, I'm talking smack, but it probably does. Because if a Titan melee can bring you to critical health, charging this melee will absolutely kill you, and will now probably kill you if you have an overshield. I want to see this in action. Me and Mike is going to have to play test this in some private matches. So, it's been difficult for us to find a solid place for the knockout aspect across game modes. What's that? But in part due to the harsh difference. In part, this is due to the harsh difference in the value of unstunning passive health regeneration in different combat environments. Knockout's passive health regeneration is very quick at max recovery, but can be interrupted. Generally, in PvP encounters, players are dramatically less likely to take chip damage after resolution of an engagement, resulting in much more health recovery than we think is comfortable. Thank you. Nice. Okay. That's cool. Because I'm so tired of a Titan who's low health, punching somebody and healing a ton of health. That's ridiculous. Okay. By contrast, with the increased number of enemies in PvE encounters, Knockout's passive healing can feel ineffectual because there are many more sources of incoming damage at any given moment. To help address this, we're reworking the way Knockout's healing works altogether. Rather than unstunning passive regeneration, defending enemies with melee attacks now grants a chunk of health in a very short window of 0.1 seconds. Jesus. That is, wow. I mean, I'm all for nerfing Titans in PvP, but is this really a buff PvE? Hold on, did I read that wrong?
No, that's, yeah.
A very short window of 0.1 seconds. Jesus Christ. And that chunk of health increases based on the type of target you defeat. So you have to defeat somebody on top of that. Yeah. We're also increasing the bonus damage granted to powered melee attacks versus PvE combatants while Knockout is active. Knockout. What does Knockout do? Because it's telling us how they're changing Knockout. But what does that do? What is
I think that's the one where is that when you get a melee, you kind of, it powers you up. It's a bit like Liar's Handshake.
Okay, I see.
For the Titans.
So I don't know. Do y'all think that that's a buff for y'all? No, the damage is, yes, absolutely.
Honestly, I don't use it, so I don't know.
But
I haven't used it for a long time.
You have a 0.1 window to heal if you kill something. That sounds rough. I'm gonna side with my Titan.
Beforehand, you were having to kill something, and that was triggering health regeneration. So what it's doing now, instead of triggering health regeneration, it's just going to give you a chunk of health. So this is kind of like what you were arguing about with Dim last night with Restoration versus Devour.
Yeah. I see.
Whereas beforehand, it was triggering health regeneration, which was then getting cut short because you were getting, shot by a harpy. It's just like, instead now it's just going to give you a total of, does it say? I don't know.
Yeah, so Knockout is critically wounding a target or breaking their shield. It infuses your melee attack with arc energy and increases your melee range and damage for a short duration. Defeating targets with melee attacks starts health regeneration and makes you amplified. So that's the aspect. That's what that does.
Yeah, I mean, still though, 0.1 second to trigger that healing on a kill? Damn, dude.
Yeah, but it's rather than kind of it just giving you the increased health and overshield and whatever else you kind of build into it, it's just going to give you that's it.
The what? You broke up. It's going to give you the what?
Just the chunk of health, not like the continued.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's see. Increased bonus damage granted to powered melee attacks versus PvE from 25 to 50. So, okay, that's 100% increase there. Reworked healing behavior. No longer unstuns health regen on melee defeats. Now instantly grants a chunk of healing that scales with the type of target defeated. When you defeat a player, you get 30 health. When you defeat a red bar, you get 50. Yellow bar is 75, and champions are 100. And max health pool is what, 192, 196?
No, I think it's gone up now.
Has it? Okay,
I think.
so that's
I can't
about
remember.
half your health in the middle of what we hope is you clearing a bunch of ads. That doesn't seem a whole lot. Now, can you spam the punch? A,
Yes.
how long does it take for you to make a fully charged punch? B, can you spam it? C, is it going to do enough damage to kill more than one person at a time?
That's going to depend. I mean, could you imagine getting that mixed in with Peregrine Greaves, where now, you use it against a champion?
That works with Peregrine Greaves?
But yeah, it will do.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, well, that changes a lot. Hold on. But you can't charge in the air with Peregrine Greaves. I thought, isn't this the charge melee?
No, this is just knockout.
Yeah.
The charge melee was Thunderclap.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
They're just melee attacks.
Okay, it's coming together now. I see.
Yeah.
I see what's happening. All right. Okay. Yeah. Oh, dude, with Peregrine Greaves, Jesus Christ. Okay. And you can melee more than one target at a time. So this would be like if you killed 5 or 6 red bars with one melee, you'd heal 30 per enemy killed. Okay. All right. I see what's happening now. Okay, no, that's pretty good. All right. I see now.
I'm glad that we've impressed you there.
Well, for PvE, I always want my Titans to be better in PvE. Just PvP.
Well, hopefully we're going to be.
Yeah. All right, with update 6305 in January 2023, we've implemented a change to drastically reduce the travel speed of Torch of Thunder's Storm Grenade to reduce its potency across the board, with specific focus on the Crucible. Gosh, motherfucker. I don't even know what that does to be mad about it already, but I'm mad anyway. Anyway,
it's a Storm Grenade. Touch of Thunder Storm Grenade. That's all it is. You don't have to be angry about it. But they're not in love with it, how it's shaken out in PvE.
Okay, we're making the targeted change to increase the speed only when tracking PvE combatants. This will help better roam across an encounter space to catch multiple targets. The Storm Grenade has increased tracking travel speed when targeting PvE combatants between 0.5 and 0.1 meters per second, increasing with the storm's lifetime. Storm is just the grenade that pulses out electricity, I thought, isn't it?
No, that's a pulse grenade.
What's the storm one? Is that the big thunder spike where thunder comes down on it from above? Which one?
Yeah, it's like a lightning storm above you, yeah.
All right. Well, now we have arc grenades in general. I'm sorry, no. Did we go with the changes? We didn't.
You didn't tell us the changes.
Yeah, my bad. I'm getting there. Touch of Thunder. Storm grenades increased tracking travel speed when targeting PvE combatants between.
Okay, yes, sorry.
I did read that. Yeah.
No. What I was going to say is the Touch of Thunder is an aspect of the Titans. So it says your flashbang, pulse, lightning, and storm grenades have an enhanced functionality. So flashbang emits an additional blinding flash on bounce. Pulse grenade creates an ionic trace periodically as it damages targets and increase the damage over time. And lightning grenades grants an additional grenade charge and jolts targets hit by the initial base of the storm grenade. After detonation, creates a roaming thunder cloud that tracks nearby targets.
That's what that is. Oh my god, I haven't seen that forever.
But yeah, it's part of the actual aspect Touch of Thunder, which is why I think they've kind of then included it. But so with the lightning grenade, it now applies jolt after the first damage event rather than prior to it.
Cool.
And that's with the
aspect.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. So keeping with Touch of Thunder, its lightning grenade upgrade is currently a bit too spicy. So we're making a change here to curb the amount of immediate burst damage you can deal, especially outside of its actual effective detonation range. Following this change, lightning grenade will apply its jolt immediately after initial damage occurs, preventing a jolt from zapping its chain lightning instantly on creation. Now, they didn't say if this change was PvE or PvP. If it's PvE, well, I mean, that sucks for PvE, though. I know they can individually.
No, it does. It says they're not in love with how it's shaken up in PvE game modes. So they're making a target change to increase its speed only when tracking PvE combatants.
Man, that's ridiculous. Let them have that for PvE. Come on, man.
Well, it says Touch of Thunder Storm Grenade and then Touch of Thunder Lightning Grenade. So,
yeah, I know, but it says
below,
now
but
apply shield after the first damage rather than prior, because they're like, oh, we don't want you to do a lot of damage with a grenade up front. Bro, it's a grenade in PvE. Let them do the damage. Anyway, so now arc grenades in general.
Yes.
Right? So Storm Grenade is also getting a bit of a boost outside of the Touch of Thunder variant. We're increasing the base version's damage versus PvE combatants by 20%. That's pretty good. Skip Grenade is getting a 15% boost to his PvE damage. Nice. That's great for some Hunter builds. And we're also increasing Arc Bolt Grenade's damage versus PvE combatants by 15% as well. Give it a shot on Prismatic Hunter and let us know how it's feeling. There's a Hunter build out there. It's still pretty good. And this is going to make it better where you can have infinite skip grenades, right? So that's going to be pretty good. Storm Grenade increased damage versus PvE combatants by 20%. Obviously, Touch of Thunder's variance damage is unchanged. Skip Grenade increased damage by 15%. Arc Bolt Grenade increased damage by 15%. And this is PvE, not PvP.
Yeah.
Arc Fragments. So again, across the board. Wrapping up Arc, we're making some quality of life changes to our Arc Fragment suite. Spark of Recharge is one of the few sources of direct... Let me look at this. Oh, recharge, okay. While critically wounded, your melee and grenade energy regenerate more quickly. Okay, so Spark of Recharge is one of the few sources of direct ability energy regeneration outside of Ionic Traces in the Arc subclass kit. And we feel it's currently too difficult to make use of. Well, duh, you have to be near death. So while it will still initially activate when becoming critically wounded, damn it, we're extending the duration of its benefits until the player returns to full health. Cool. Rather than deactivating as soon as the player has any shields. So does that mean if I stay critically wounded or just not full health, not critically wounded but not full health, I'll keep that benefit? Because that would be kind of cool. Because it says right here, while critically wounded. It specifically says while critically wounded. And now they're saying it starts while critically wounded, but it'll last until your health is full. So as long as you just don't get full health, you'll have melee and grenade energy just spiking up. That's interesting. Spark of Recharge ability regeneration bonus now persists until player returns to full shields rather than deactivating as soon as shields begin to recharge. All right. Spark
good
of
change.
Beacons, that's a very good change. Spark of Beacons is while you're amplified, your arc special weapon final blows create blinding explosions. Spark of Beacons has always been relatively popular and has spiked in usage with the release of Indebted Kindness. We don't mind the spike and are extending the Spark of Beacons activation triggers to include arc power weapons as well. Ooh. And they specifically say time to break out the Thunderlord.
Yeah.
Spark of Beacons now also triggers on defeating targets with arc power ammo weapons while amplified. Finally, for Spark of Frequency, we're bringing back just a hint of the old Frontal Assault Striker talent. Yo, Mactix and Plunder the Booty, I want to see a build where you can have constant amplification going on to make this as viable as you can. Help me out, dude. Finally, for Spark of Frequency, we're bringing back just a hint of the old Frontal Assault Striker talent. Spark of Frequency now grants 15 weapon stability on a powered melee hit in addition to its reload benefit. So Spark of Frequency is melee hits greatly increase your reload speed. So they just increase reload speed. But now they're going to make it so it grants weapon stability and reload speed. Okay, so they give it an additional perk there. All right.
Noble, would you like to take us through solar subclass changes?
His answer was yes, by the way. He didn't say it, but he meant it.
No, he knows. He's muted at the moment for some reason. There you are.
Yeah, no, I didn't even realise I was muted. I must push a button. Don't push buttons. For solar, in addition to our Well of Radiance changes detailed above, we are making some targeted improvements to abilities that are included with Prismatic, as well as making some improvements to standalone abilities that needed some love. Hunters don't need any love, they suck. No. For our gunslinger friends, we are taking a look at Lightweight Knife. This has struggled to find an identity for itself. Our overall goal for this ability is to provide a low barrier to entry melee with a payoff for high skill usage. However, it's not currently hitting our fantasy bar. With the release of the final shape, this melee is getting a small rework. It now has 2 melee charges by default and can be thrown back to back dramatically faster. I absolutely love that. The lightweight knife, obviously, as I've already said, now has 2 melee charges by default. It has an increased front.
Does that mean with the scissor perk on Ophidius Space we can have 3 melee charges? What?
Probably not.
No, he says the base by 2. The base. So
Yep.
I'm thinking, yeah.
There was a base subclass that used to have 2 arc grenades on Titan as well, but if you wore the exotic that gives you, which is an armamentarian,
Yes.
that gives you an extra, that wouldn't give you 3. It'd still result you in only having 2.
Yeah.
What?
That might be different though for this one because it says
It
at
might
base.
be. It might be, but I can't see it. But yeah,
If you carried on reading, it might tell you.
Yeah. Increased throw animation speed by 33%, which is nice. Reduced suppression time between throws, so both knives can be thrown very quickly back to back. The additional melee charge does not stack with Ophidius Space due to the exotic's unique energy recharge behaviour. We'll be monitoring this and evaluating how things are playing once things go live. To support this, we are also updating Knock 'em Down internal cooldown on its melee refund. This was initially intended to prevent situations where Knife Trick could refund many charges at once. But with the lightweight knife update, we felt it was important to enable a faster cadence of potential refunds. Knock 'em Down reduced internal cooldown on throwing knife refund from 1 to 0.2 seconds.
Yo! Yes! Because with that's a big problem, because when you have, like, for example, Fan of Blades and you kill somebody, right, and you get it back immediately and you throw them again, you don't get the second refund because of that cooldown timer, right? So this is going to be huge. Sorry.
Some raid teams have a niche strategy of hunters fully stacking Golden Gun marksmen to instantly refund each other's supers with the orbs of power created on precision hit, in combination with the additional super energy granted on orb pickup by Star Eater scales. While we always appreciate this kind of build crafting ingenuity, this level of super trading isn't very healthy for the game. Therefore, we are reducing the strength of the orbs created by Golden Gun, marksman's precision hit perks, and making some targeted adjustments to the specific combination noted above.
Somebody pointed out last night, they're like, don't worry, Respawn, hunters are getting hit too. And they said this about the orb thing. I'm like, I don't care about your supers. I just care about my big damage numbers, bro. Oh, you mean you get less super energy from me? Oh, what a tragedy.
Golden Gun marksman.
And I know that's selfish. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Golden Gun marksman reduce the strength of orbs of power created on precision hits as follows. When hitting non-boss enemies, reduce strength from 0.75 to 0.5 of a normal super orb of power. When hitting boss enemies, reduce strength from 0.75 to about 0.4 of a normal super orb of power. When hitting boss enemies with Star Eater skills is equipped, reduce strength from 0.75 to about 0.35 of a normal super orb of power. Sucks. Titan. For our Sunbreakers, we are taking a look at Consecration. We made some improvements to Consecration in Update 7.3.5 that landed pretty well. But with its inclusion in Prismatic, we wanted to make sure Consecration could stand on its own without relying on Roaring Flames. We also wanted it to have some interesting interactions with other Prismatic Titan abilities. As a result, we've increased the damage of ignitions caused by Consecration versus PvE combatants, and further increased its consistency against floating targets. You'll still need a different tool to take down a pesky Grim, but a Servitor or Shank should cause less frustration. Consecration's slam attack can now shatter stasis crystals. Ignitions generated by Consecration now deal 20% additional damage to PvE combatants. Fixed an issue where Consecration's slam attack was sometimes unable to damage floating combatants while they were grounded. Fixed an issue where Consecration's intended PvE damage resistance was not being applied. Another Sunbreaker ability featured on the Prismatic Titan is Hammer of Sol, which we feel is too reliant on the additional damage granted from the sunspots created by Sol Invictus. We are making a change to Hammer of Sol that only affects the super when Sol Invictus isn't equipped. This will increase the number of shrapnel submissions created on impact based on the primary projectile's lifetime and the damage those submissions deal. Hammer of Sol increased projectile submunition count when Sol Invictus is not equipped as follows. If the projectile detonates within the first 0.7 seconds of its lifetime, it now creates 4 shrapnel munitions up from 3. If the projectile detonates after the first 0.7 seconds of its lifetime, it now creates 6 shrapnel up from 5. Note, when Sol Invictus is equipped, only 3 shrapnel submunitions are created regardless of flight time. Shrapnel submunitions now deal additional damage when Sol Invictus is not equipped, with the damage increasing after the first 0.7 seconds of the projectile's lifetime. So that's not bad. Stand further away and throw your hammer. Swarm Grenade. Finally, a few weeks ago, we revealed the abilities coming with each prismatic subclass, and some hunters raised an eyebrow at the inclusion of Swarm Grenade. We agree, so we have boosted Swarm Grenade's ease of use and PvE damage output to make sure it shines in that kit.
Now, did they wait for the feedback and then adjust it and now tell us about it, or did they already have that done and they're just telling us about it now and go, oh, by the way, we know that you guys raised an eyebrow about it. Don't worry, we got you covered. Which one is it, Bungie?
Yes.
Yes.
Swarm Grenade. Increased tracking shape size from 4 meters to 6 meters. Increased linger duration from 7 to 8 seconds to 10 to 11 seconds. And increased damage versus PvE combatants by 20%.
Cool.
Yeah, which would be a little better in PvP, though. They don't really do crap in PvP, but, take what you can get, I guess.
Well, you're doing so well, Noble. How do you feel about taking on Void? Telling us about what's changing with Void.
I just felt like Mr. Respawn should have read Void after last night, but no, I'll do it. It's fine. Hunter Night Stalkers are generally in a pretty strong place, as seen by their popularity in Onslaught. That's what I'm using in Onslaught. Absolutely love it. It's fun. A large portion of that is driven by the potency of Shadow Shot and its ability to lock down hordes of incoming enemies, and not necessarily its neutral game offering. So we are making a few changes to help shore up that side. With the release of Void 3.0, we removed the Corrosive Smoke melee ability in favour of Snare Bomb, leaning further into the trap-laying Trickster fantasy. We want to walk that back a little bit, and are baking in small escalating damage over time to the Snare Bomb's now longer smoke volume.
Ooh.
This will help keep Night Stalkers capitalise on an incapacitated enemy caught up in their trap. These changes also apply to the smoke volume created by Trapper's Ambush. Snare Bomb increased linger duration of smoke after detonation from 3 seconds to 5 seconds. It now applies small damage over time to enemies in the smoke, which increases in strength the longer they remain in the smoke. Trapper's Ambush increased linger duration of the smoke after detonation from 4.5 seconds to 6 seconds. Now applies Snare Bomb's damage over time to enemies caught in its smoke. Fixed an issue where Trapper's Ambush smoke effects could be obstructed by ground geometry. It's a problem for everything. We are also updating Stylage Executioner to allow its weaken effect, while active, to be applied by glaive melees as well. Stylish Execution.
Yes!
Stylish Executioner's weaken effect can now be applied by glaive melee attacks.
Yes. Freaking finally. Oh my God. Why didn't you do this sooner?
Because they were working on a larger pass and they've decided to do it now.
No, I mean, like, immediately, Glaives worked with Warlock melees. Immediately. And then there's a bunch of Titan melees that can go with Glaive melee, right?
At the end of the day, that was spaghetti code, and they've realised that, but now they're adding it to the Hunters.
I love it. Yes. Oh, it's going to be game changing.
So he's excited.
Yeah.
Titan for Sentinels, we focused on a large consistency pass for the shield throw melee attack. While we want this to feel weighty and impactful, our previous passes haven't done enough to make it able to deal with groups of minor combatants. We are taking a much stronger swing here, resulting in a much larger improvement to its consistency. We are also increasing its PvE damage to help ensure that any combatants who are hit have a meaningful dent left in them. Shield throw. Increase the maximum bounce count from 4 to 5.
Oh, damn it.
Increased maximum lifetime from 3 seconds to 4 seconds. Now increases its tracking shape size and strength after each bounce, increasing its ability to consistently find a new target. Slightly increased gravity and decreased thrust speed with each bounce. Increased damage versus PvE targets by 20%. We are also making a small change to Offensive Bulwark. This is partially preventative to stop players from getting into a bad timer state, similar to the Ember of Empyrean issue resolved earlier this season. So we are making a quality of life change to offset that. Offensive Bulwark can now only extend Void's Overshield's timer to its normal maximum duration to prevent an issue where players could get into a bad timer state. Now regenerates a small portion of your active Void Overshield with each melee defeat. Warlock. Finally, our Void Walkers are getting a number of improvements, starting with Chaos Accelerant. Its overcharged magnetic grenade has fallen by the wayside, so since its inception as handheld Supernova with Forsaken, to help remedy this, we are increasing its damage output and knockback capability as well as its uptime. Chaos Accelerant, Charged Magnetic Grenade. Increased maximum intensity of physics knockback impulse by 10%. Increased damage versus PvE combatants by 20%. Now passively decreases your magnetic grenade's cooldown by 10% while Chaos Accelerant is equipped. From the first minute of your experience with Prismatic, Pocket Singularity will be available to equip and use. A piece of feedback we've heard for a while now is that Pocket Singularity struggles in high-level PvE content, and we agree. While we want its overall primary fantasy to remain displacement and knockback, we are giving it a sizable damage increase versus PvE combatants. Pocket Singularity increased detonation damage versus PvE combatants by around 50%. Finally, we are taking a look at Nova Bomb to improve its overall damage output with the need of a super boost in exotic. For Cataclysm Nova Bomb, we are increasing its maximum secondary seeker count and making it more consistent. And for Vortex Nova Bomb, we are increasing the lifetime of the lingering damage over time value. Nova Bomb Cataclysmic Variant increased seeker count from 4 to 6.
Very
and
nice.
Fixed an issue where seekers could impact the environment on creation. For the Vortex variant, increased Vortex linger duration from 7 seconds to 10 seconds. Fixed an issue where the linger visual effects were shutting off early.
I really would have liked to have seen them put the split one that you could get in Destiny 1, where you could kind of jump in midair and flick.
Off.
Yeah, you could flick your thumbstick and you get cover quite a large area with the 3 different ones. It's a shame they never put that one back in.
Yeah, it would have been fun, if nothing more than at least visually, to have the Vortex Super have like a bigger radius. Because I mean, like, the few times I did use that as a Warlock, like, it's a black hole. You know, I want a black hole. You know what I'm saying?
It does suck people in from quite a big radius.
I know.
Those people should also cease from existing, though.
Yeah. Wait, what? Say that again? They should see
Those
what?
people that have been sucked in to your black hole should also very much cease from existing.
Yes.
Oh, cease from existing. Oh, okay.
Yes.
I thought you said
cease from existing.
See some. I don't know what I thought you said, but I thought you meant like to see where the sucking begins, right? So if they would increase the size to the maximum of where you can be sucked in at, so you'd know that that's where that's where the danger zone is, instead of having just like an invisible radius where you'll get sucked in. But yeah, like I mean, how cool would it be? Obviously, it wouldn't be great for in-game content where you need to like see the boss's head or whatever, right? But like, just like if you're a solo warlock or whatever, you throw a Nova bomb and it's the Vortex one, and you just have this giant black hole that's like engulfing a boss or something. Visually, that would be really cool. I know
it would be.
It'd be excellent if they stopped the Vortex grenade from the Vortex Nova bomb from actually being a solid object, so that you could actually, shoot through it when you're against a boss in.
Well, but you do shoot.
Yeah.
The problem is your bullet becomes spaghettified, bro. The bullets go through. They're just atomized when they do. Yeah, it's like, God, what do you want? You're so greedy. Nothing's ever good enough for you, warlocks.
So last up, we have Strand. Go ahead, Respawn.
Alrighty. So before we get into the individual subclasses, the first outlier we'd like to address is the Thread of Warding Fragment. Let's see what that does if we're going to discuss it. Thread of Warding. Oh, there it is. Picking up an orb of power grants Woven Mail. Uh-oh. You gonna touch it? While we appreciate the defensive value it provides by granting Woven Mail, it's currently too potent. Damn it! It overshadows the role of Berserkers into the fray aspect of being the best source of Woven Mail for your fire team. Berserkers into... That's a Titan thing, right? A Berserker is a Titan? Yeah? Aspect?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So because it's too potent on Titans, it's going to be nerfed for everyone? That sucks. That really sucks. Why can't you just change the Berserkers aspect so that you don't affect Warlocks and Hunters? That's whatever.
His Berserkers into the fray aspect, it affects everybody. So it's meant to be like a team thing.
Yeah, but...
So the one that's affecting everybody, they want that one to be best. Otherwise, what's the point of it?
That's why you should affect the Berserkers of the fray aspect, right? That's another reason why you should adjust the aspect and not the fragment, right? Because you have to have a Titan rocking Berserker in order for this to mean anything to you. But as a hunter, I do a lot of stuff solo. This means nothing to me, but yet I still have my Woven Mail duration going from 10 seconds to 5 seconds, even if there's no Titan in my team. That's stupid.
Sounds like you need a Titan.
No. Sounds like Bungie doing stupid things because of a problem on Titans, So now I have reduced duration when there's no Titan on my team because Titans are a problem. Fix the Titans.
No, Titans aren't a problem. Titans are perfectly fine. That's why they're not touching the Titan aspect.
No, that's ass, Bungie. That's a stupid thing to do. You're ass. Hunters.
He's going to forget about all these changes come about 3 weeks' time, and he's going to say it's amazing and he loves Prismatic and he's not going to be touching anything else. Don't worry about it.
No. The Woven Mail, the Woven Mail is a big part of my thread. I mean, it's my first aspect. If you're looking right here, I'm sorry, my first fragment. It's that important that it's first.
I'm not saying that, but the complaint that you made last year before we went into Lightfall about the changes, do you remember what they were?
Yes, every one of them. See?
Point proven.
Yeah. I said every one of them. I'll recite it to you now, but we don't have the time, so we're moving on. Thread Runners... Fuck you. Thread Runners Ensnaring Slam has remained popular throughout the Strand's life and has been a small bump in PvE popularity following the increased uptime post-update 735. However, it's currently too powerful against other players. Okay, with a detonation radius that's very difficult for victims to understand. True. So we're reducing its overall area of effect versus players. As a hunter, I think it sucks, but being a victim of this multiple times, I can understand it. I have mixed feelings about this. Ensnaring Slam, detonation volume versus enemy players is now a cylinder with a 6.5 meter radius rather than a sphere with an 8 meter radius. This results in fewer instances of victims correctly attempting to counterplay by jumping but being caught by the ensnaring slam detonation high up in the air. Similarly, Threaded Spike is a little too potent against enemy players. Really? Okay. With very forgiving tracking and high damage for its ease of use, so we're making a small reduction in its damage versus enemy players. We're also changing the catch mechanic so that catching a threaded spike manually no longer breaks invisibility. That's good. That's very good. We wanted to prevent it from happening on Prismatic Hunter in combination with Silas Executioner. Very cool. Threaded Spike, reduced damage from players from 79 to 70. That's not too bad. Catching your threaded spike no longer breaks invisibility. I didn't think it did that much damage because I've hit players in PvP and it didn't look like it was doing that much damage. But whatever. Okay, sure. Now it's doing even less damage. But I mean, I never used that to kill anybody anyway because it's Anyway, for Brood Weavers, our focus for this update is Weaver's Call. One major piece of the feedback is that threadling uptime for Brood Weavers doesn't match up to the fantasy.
Nope.
With Rift cooldown times being relatively long to match the combat utility of the heal or damage increase, Weaver's Call could feel too spiky? Yeah, spiky in its output with a lot of downtime. We agree that the feedback. We agree with Jesus Christ. We agree with that feedback and are updating Weaver's Call to allow it to generate perched threadlings throughout normal gameplay. Wait, hold on. Namely, by defeating targets with any source of strand damage.
Ooh, very nice.
So even a strand gun?
Yep.
Really?
Mm.
And to be clear, Warlock, that's the threadlings that spin over your head like death from above kind of thing, right? That's what they're talking about?
It's by your feet, isn't it?
I don't know. But you're generating threadlings to throw, right? That's what that's doing?
No, the threadling's cast out from your feet.
Oh, okay.
No, that's thingies, isn't it?
All
Which
right.
ones come from your feet?
All right. So Weaver's Call added new behavior. Defeated a target with strand
Weaver's
damage.
Call is cast your rift to weave 3 threadlings and deploy any threadlings you have perched. It's an aspect.
Yeah.
Okay. So defeating a target with strand now has a chance to generate a perched threadling. So this helps you generate those threadlings that you'll pop on your rift. Okay.
Yeah.
With a higher chance of generating from defeating even more powerful targets. Okay. So it's just a chance. So it's not a build-up.
Well, you could use like any strand damage and end up with quite a few things.
Right,
perched.
but no, it sounds like it's an RNG chance to create one instead of like building up. Like the more damage you do, the better the chance you're going to get in generating one. It's not like that. You're not building up to generating. You just have an RNG chance to generate one every time.
The idea is that you get the threadlings, or you cast your rift, you get the threadlings, and even the damage from the threadlings can cause more threadlings. So it's just like you could go on a kind of roll with it.
Yeah, but like they said, your rift has an increased downtime, right? So, I mean, it's cool. You're going to get more threadlings anyway. But I haven't really used this on a Warlock. I don't even think I've unlocked Strand on the Warlock. Okay, so casting a rift will generate 3, right? How else could you generate these little threadlings before this change happens?
You could also chow down on your grenade, and that would.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so all right, no, that's cool. That's cool. That's very cool. And this is just in general, PvE and PvP, right? Yeah, it doesn't say, so it's just in general. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I like that for PvP, but it's cool for PvE. So grapple, tangles, and melee. Before we get into the Berserker, because they nerfed everybody, because Titans suck. let's take a pit stop and talk about grapple tangles and grapple melee. When we initially built the grapple tangle as part of the Widow's Silk aspect, we intended for it to be used primarily as a traversal tool, allowing hunters to give their fire team a fast grapple path through combat spaces. However, that intention was quickly subverted, and we now see that grapple tangle is primarily used to fuel an infinite number of high-output grapple melees. Yes? Particularly on Berserker, we want to keep some degree of freedom in how grapple tangles are used, but we don't believe that using a single attack back-to-back like this is particularly interesting or healthy gameplay. So now we're taking a few steps to address it. Oh, crap. First, grapple tangles no longer fully refresh their duration when a player uses them. Instead, they have a flat number of seconds added to their timer, and that added time decreases with each successive grapple to the same grapple tangle. Rutro. Grapple tangles no longer fully refresh their duration when grapple 2 now increases their duration by a maximum of 5 seconds per grapple, reducing to a maximum of 1 second added after 5 consecutive grapples to the same grapple tangle. Now, is that per person or is that per...
Yeah, of course it's going to be per person.
Okay. All right. Additionally, melee will no longer be able to be used for firing. Additionally, grapple melee will no longer be able to be used after firing your weapon. What the fuck? This primarily intended to reduce the number of difficult to understand grapple melee deaths in the Crucible, where players can grapple towards you, fire a single hand cannon shot, and then follow up with a grapple melee for a very fast clear. Oh, I see. But it also reduces the number of melee damage stacking sources, which can spiral out of control very quickly, that are easily achievable with grapple melees by removing 1-2 punch from the equation. Okay, cool. All right, I understand these changes. This ain't world breaking. I thought they were somehow gonna mess with my Beyblades or whatever, and I was gonna cry.
No.
Titans, looping back to Berserker, because again, they suck. While we're happy with how the fantasy has landed, there are a few balance outliers that we want to address, making sure that it's not dramatically out of band with our other subclasses. Our changes here are relatively small and targeted at specific issues. We should have done that with the fragment. And our goal is that the overall fantasy and gameplay style of the subclass remains intact throughout. So, Into the Fray offers a high degree of survivability and melee uptime. Is that your Banner of War thing, Into the Fray?
No, it would say Banner of War.
So what's Into the Fray? Because you're saying Into the Fray offers like it's a thing. Is that like an aspect, a fragment? What is that?
It is an aspect. It's destroying a tangle or casting your super grants Woven Mail for nearby allies. While you have Woven Mail, your melee regeneration rate is increased.
Okay. All right, so I see the survivability now with the Woven Mail. We're generally okay with the survivability as it's critical to the fantasy of the subclass, but in combination with the accelerating passive regeneration of Frenzied Blade, but in combination with the accelerating passive regeneration of Frenzied Blade as charges accumulate, the melee ability regeneration it provides is slightly too high, so we're bringing it down a bit. Into the Fray, reduced melee energy regeneration scaler from 4 times to 3 times in PvE activities, and it's unchanged in PvP. What? What? Why would you not change it in PvP?
Because it's already low in PvP.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. Fair enough. All right, I can see the point. When we released Update 7.3.0 last December, Banner of War was still new, and we didn't have much time to holistically evaluate its potency.
Yes, you did. Don't lie.
Oh, we know that. Now that we've had more time to sit with it, we have a few targeted changes to make. Having a relatively easy upkeep bonus fits well within the Berserker playstyle, but its lengthy duration results in too little time pressure to fit the high action per minute gameplay loop. So reducing its maximum time relief by 20%?
Yeah, but it's not that much.
What?
Not that much. It's fine. We can live with it. We can keep procking it over and over again. It's fine.
20% is not insignificant. I mean, yes, I know you can reproc it, but 20% is massive. Above, we mentioned that melee damage stacking can quickly spiral out of control, and Banner of War is a good example of the result. When paired with something like a newly reworked Worm God's Caress or the evergreen staple Syntheseps, these are hard words to say today. Damn.
They are. It's lots of hard words.
Banner of War's relatively modest melee damage boost becomes a very large force multiplier for the melee damage boost granted by those exotics.
That's because they're exotic.
Right? Duh. This isn't healthy long term. We still want Banner to provide some value to the player when using these exotics, as they are a natural pairing. But we are implementing diminishing returns when either are active. So I'm noticing here they didn't mention the sword exotic you have. What's it called?
Strongholds.
Why
would they nerf that? What's the problem with that?
Well, no, I'm saying that they're not. I'm not saying they need to. What I'm saying is,
just
like with that, you become invincible. You just melee one thing with the sword to proc Banner of War.
Yep.
And is melee hit or kill?
Hit.
It's melee hit. Okay, so you don't even need to kill. All right.
I think it is.
So
I can't remember.
You can still have with your build anyway. You can still have an invincible Titan that is healing everyone around him, as long as you have sword ammo.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm surprised they didn't touch that with these other changes that they made.
Just go on with the changes that they have made.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Banner of War, reduce maximum timer from 30 seconds to 24 seconds. That's not bad at all. Wow.
Yep.
All right. Melees, Glade melees. I forgot about Glade melees. Fair enough. And super damage bonus now have diminishing returns with Syntheseps as follows. Melee bonuses decrease from 1.4 times to 1.15 times. Glade melee bonuses decrease from 1.25 to 1.125. And super bonuses decrease from 1.4 to 1.2 times multipliers. Hold on. Melee and glade melee damage bonuses now have diminishing returns with Worm God's Caress 2. Worm God's Caress. I know what Syntheseps is. What's Worm God's doing?
It's very similar.
It's the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, don't you worry about it unless you get hit by it.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the problem. Melee bonuses decrease from 1.4 time multiplier to 1.1 based on the stack count. And Glade melee bonuses decrease from 1.4 to 1.05 based on the stack count. Oh, so one of them's got like a stack system, the other one doesn't?
Yeah, because Worm God's Caress, because defeating a target with a melee or a finisher grants an escalating melee damage bonus, which decays over time, but higher levels of Burning Fist now grant increased weapon damage as well. So that's why it's different to Syntheseps.
Gotcha.
Because Syntheseps is just while you're surrounded, you gain melee and super damage, and then you improves your weapon handling and reload speed as well.
Gotcha. So finally, for the Frenzied Blade, that's your super, right? We've identified an issue where the melee lunge target point was being offset too far forward from the actual lunge target, resulting in some odd behavior when using Frenzied Blade at very close ranges. Isn't that the one that knocks you off the map?
Probably, yeah. That's the one. If I pop,
dude, I can't tell you how many times I've seen Micah just yeet himself off the side of the map doing that. Reduce the forward offset for melee lunge target point from 0.4 meters to 0.18 meters. Cool. Yeah. So, that's everything we have for now. And this is only the ability changes, by the way.
That's not everything that they... Because we now have the developer insight for the final shape armor tuning preview.
And TWAB.
And TWAB.
We're 2 hours in already, guys.
So apparently they've been primarily focused on updates to bring our existing armor and mods up to date with the release of the Prismatic subclass. This is included with a fairly wide range of changes across our roster for exotic armor, as well as some updates to specific weapon mods. In addition to that, they've still managed to find time to branch out a little, including putting together a little update for those of you just a few points short of that triple 100 stat loadout. So, subclass matching Prismatic and you. Our existing armor and mods were originally released in a world where each subclass was only ever a single element. Since that was no longer the case, and to be true with the final shape, they've taken a pass through the existing gear. So, for most part, this means that they're updating exotic armor and armor mods to reference players' equipped super element instead of a specific subclass. This allows for their effects functions on Prismatic without changing their behavior on the original subclass. For example, the Titan exotic Hoarfrost Z will require just a stasis super to be equipped rather than the full stasis subclass. So they've also taken the opportunity to update the description of the harmonic mods to better explain their behavior and to fully support the strand on resistance mods. However, in a few places they wanted to make more of a meaningful change, and they've detailed them below. So, Hunters. Here we go. Triton Vice no longer requires a glaive that matches your subclass to trigger its extra detonation. Giving the limited pool of glaive options, they wanted to open this up a little support with a variety of ways to build. So they also wanted to let glaive melee bonus linger for a little bit after you stop being surrounded. And they've added some ease of use and to bring it further into parity with the Synthetheps. So glaive projectile final blows now are also trigger on detonation that matches the glaive's damage type, even when a glaive doesn't match the equipped subclass. The surrounded effects provided by the Triton Vice while wielding a glaive now linger on the player for 5 seconds after no longer being surrounded. Dragon Shadow has also been updated to trigger its effects when you're using the Enslaving Slam or using the Ascension Arc aspect, opening up more buildcraft combinations. Foe Tracer now grants the bonus damage it inflicts on targets to weapons. The damage type also matches that of the abilities used to damage the target, instead of always matching your equipped subclass. With Prismatic, you can apply a variety of different damage elements with your abilities, and this change allows Foe Tracer to buff multiple different weapon damage types, instead of just the one that matches your subclass or super element. And they wanted to add an additional benefit to the 6th Coyote, along with Armamentarium for Titans, since otherwise the Spirit of the Coyote perk on the new exotic class item would have granted the same benefit as the original exotic. So they've taken inspiration from Claws of Ahamkara and added the ability for the 6th Coyote to create orbs of power from final blows after using your class ability.
Nice.
This is implemented as the exotic grants a free copy of the Reaper armor mod effects. Renewed Graphs have also been updated to grant a new Frost Armor stasis keyword instead of a bespoke damage reduction effect. So on entering your Dustfield Grenade, give you and your allies a stack of Frost Armor, and about every 0.9 seconds an additional stack of Frost Armor is granted, resetting your timer. Star Eater Scales have always been strong exotic. After the Lightfall changes to the armor mods, orbs of power are much easier to come by. So we wanted to adjust the Star Eater Scales to balance the effects required to gain its powerful effects. On top of this, they're also making a change regarding its efficiency when paired with multiple players running Golden Gun, to reduce its potency for fire teams looping super indefinitely. So increase the orbs of power required to grant the maximum benefits from 4 to 6. Reduce the increased super energy gained per orb of power when Golden Gun is equipped from 2% down to 0.5. So, yeah. So you and your fire team of Golden Gunners and your orbs looping, not going to happen anymore.
That is 1/4 the amount.
Mm-hmm.
Titans
have been hit quite a lot as well. So here we go. Titans, they've updated the Ursa Furiosas to improve a new void aspect, Unbreakable, in addition to its previous effects. So it now provides increased movement speed whilst guarding with Unbreakable, also grants super energy for guarding with Unbreakable, and this energy scales based on the amount of incoming damage with the shield absorbs. Eternal Warrior no longer requires an arc subclass for arc final blows to grant its escalating arc weapon damage bonus. This will allow it to synergize with the prismatic builds more easily. Its behavior related to the Fist of Havoc is unchanged. Like the 6th Coyote above, Armamentarium was updated with an additional benefit beyond granting a second grenade charge. It now creates orbs of power from grenade final blows. This is implemented as the exotic granting a free copy of the Firepower armor mod's effects. Kepri's Horn. This was the one I like. I like the Kepri's Horn with the fire coming out, and apparently it's a little lackluster in many situations, so they've increased its potency of its solar blast. So they've increased the damage of the solar blast that comes out from creating your barricade by 100% in PvE. That's fair enough. And the solar blast now scorches each time it hits a target instead of scorching only once. Ooh. Is that in PvP or is that just in PvE? They
didn't specify, dude.
No, they didn't specify that bit. Kepri's Horn now benefits from Ember of Eruption and Ember of Ashes, plus 30 Scorch in PvE and 15 Scorch in PvP. Oh,
no.
That'd be a nice one.
No, it's not.
It's Heart of Innermost. So its buff in the HUD could easily be crowded out by other important information. We felt that it could be less of a boast in its HUD feedback. So it now displays a single consolidated status effect icon in the HUD to communicate its state, instead of the 2 to 3 it used before. The functionality of the exotic is unchanged. Synthoseps is an exotic all about being in thick of enemy groups, and its effects are potent to offset the inherent danger of being surrounded. However, we felt that it was a little too easy to carry those powerful effects, once triggered, into far less dangerous 1v1 encounters. So they've reduced the amount of time that the bionic enhancement lingers after no longer being surrounded, from 8 seconds to 5. And this duration is now visible as a timer on the buff.
Come on, Bungie. You couldn't bring it down to 0. Once you popped Syntheseps, couldn't you just be done with it?
No.
Come on. I was wondering why Micah didn't call me, and it's because you still have a lingering effect.
Slight lingering effect. Severance
5
Enclosure is a particularly noisy exotic
PvP, dude. Jeez.
No.
Yeah, it
Severance
is.
Enclosure is a particularly noisy exotic when it comes to the effects blasting enemies around the battlefield. They wanted to alleviate some of the noise and awkwardness around the explosions, to better bring them in line with other area effects on exotics. So its explosions now require a line of sight to damage enemies. They've also reduced the knockback intensity of the explosions, which now launches enemies more consistently vertically. Warlocks, Mantle of Battle Harmony, has been adjusted to grant more super energy for defeating powerful enemies, and the cooldown on granting super energy has been removed. This is intended to make it more potent in a wider variety of activities. Now grants super energy ranging between 1.5 and 4.5 depending on the target type killed, and remove the 2- second cooldown for the perks activation. Balador's Wrath Reavers have been updated to grant a new Frost Armor status keyword instead of the old Stasis Shard Overshield. Activating your writ will grant you and your nearby allies a maximum Frost Armor stacks when Frost Pulse is equipped. Activating your Winter's Wrath Shatter attack grants nearby allies the maximum amount of stacks of Frost Armor. When your Winter's Wrath ends, you gain a maximum stack of Frost Armor. The Secant Filaments, your Empowering Rifts, will now reset a player's existing Devour buff duration back to 11 seconds when they are entered, in addition to its previous behaviours. Verity's Brow now requires final blows with weapons matching your Grenade's damage type instead of one matching your Quick subclass. This better uses the support of the Prismatic subclass, so that's cool. Sun Bracers have seen quite a bit of time in the sun this season, and they wanted to bring them down a little bit. So reduce the increased solar grenade duration from 4 seconds to 2 seconds, reduce the increased grenade recharge rate to allow a maximum of 4 grenades while the effect is active, down from 5. And when multiple Warlocks use Cenotaph Mask on a single target, it results in far more heavy ammo than healthy for the sandbox. It also pushes the fire team into all using the same build, which is more reductive than we would like. So multiple players using the Cenotaph Mask can no longer trigger its effects using a single enemy target, and Cenotaph Target Lock visually marks is now hidden for the exotic wearer and only applies to the wearer's allies. So that's the exotic changes there. There's probably going to be more coming and different changes. And you made a little noise there, Noble. You're not happy with that, the Cenotaph Mask?
No, I'm not, no.
So for anybody that didn't know what was happening, what were multiple Warlocks doing? Just all using the same build with a Cenotaph Mask?
Yeah, so you could multiple mark it. So if there was free, let's say you were in a GM with 3 Warlocks, every person wearing Cenotaph, every person using a Trace Rifle, all 3 of you could mark it, and it would result in 3 lots of heavy ammo dropping instead of 1.
Ah. So we can still do that now then, just before final show, just asking for a friend. Okay.
Yeah, you can still do that at the minute. It just sucks. Just sort out the heavy, all the ammo situation within the game, and then you wouldn't have people abusing things like that.
They might do that further down. There's the thing that I've just seen. It says Ammo Finder update, but we've got to get through powered melee and armor effects first. So have you, like me and like the rest of the community, always been kind of a little hazy on what powered melee was always intended to mean? Yes.
No.
Yes. Well, the term powered melee has always intended to mean a spending of a melee charge.
Yeah.
However, subclass elements like combination blows or knockout would allow players to circumvent this cost. This makes it difficult to balance the potency of the effects that require powerful melee, especially across all classes and subclasses. So they're going to standardize these across the sandbox. And they're starting by updating Severance Enclosure and Assassin's Cowl to only trigger their effects when the player spends a melee charge or uses a finisher to get a final blow. And they plan on rolling this type of change out to the other kind of powerful melees in future updates. And now the one that Donnie got quite excited about is sent me a little picture and said, this is a game changer. It's like, okay, cool. I'll make sure that we tell people about it. So exotic artifice upgrades. So if you're not aware, Artifice Armor is available in Crucible and Master Dungeons. Mm-hmm. And what it does is gives you an extra mod slot on your gear that is free, but it gives you +3 to whatever stat that you want to kind of put into your build. So kind of help you push you into your triple 100 stats to if you're lacking in a couple of points in one area on your build, you can have exotic armor and have this artifice armor, and that will kind of, you can build into it. But then when people put on their exotics, they had to give up like an artifice piece of armor, so they would lose some of the stats if their exotic wasn't up to par. But with the final shape, we are going to get exotic artifice upgrades. So whether you're looking to make everything match or you're getting that last +3 to resilience, in the final shape, exotic armor will now be able to access the unique mod slot and free stat mod of artifice armor. So exotic armor can now be upgraded after it has been fully masterworked. So you have to masterwork it first, granting the artifice mod slot. And this comes at the cost of an exotic cipher and
there it is.
10,000 glimmer. But it's going to be worth it.
Exotic ciphers are not easy to come by, dude. You know?
You're going to have to work for it, yeah. And they'll be probably more on the reward track. There'll be ways to kind of, you can go and get them from Xur each week, can't you, as well? Yeah. So they'll be
that's limited to 1 a week, right? Like you can't buy and then use and then buy again. You have to, you get 1 a week from Xur, right?
Yeah, but the thing is like a lot of people have already got them stockpiled. Like I could say one person particularly I know has about 12 in his inventory that he's never used. So
yeah.
You know,
what would you use them for now? What do you use exotic ciphers for now?
You can use them to get things from the vending machine, you know, for the old exotics, etc., the raid exotics and all that stuff, along with your
but I don't have.
And then you don't. No, I'm just telling you what you can use them for, and you can also use them for exotics from Xur. So you could go to Xur.
Oh, you can only have a stack of 5, dude. What do you mean he's got 12?
Well, probably got them stored in other places.
He's got them all over the place.
All right.
Yeah. So Noble Ammo Finder update in the live game now. Heavy and special ammo finders armor mods are resetting their progress towards an ammo brick whenever you die. This isn't the complaint that you had, but this is something else. This led to players receiving less ammo in harder difficulty activities, especially if they're playing right on the edge of their own skill level. In fact, if you're unlucky enough with the timing of your character dying, it was possible to never find any ammo bricks at all. So in the final shape, they wanted to make ammo finders more predictable for all players across all activities. So heavy and special ammo finder armor mods will persist their progress towards the ammo brick through death. This means that you'll always find a brick if you defeat enough enemies, regardless of how many times you die along the way. And because of this change, they've disabled the ammo finder mods in Crucible, and player kills will no longer grant ammo finder progress in Gambit. And they've also found this change dramatically increases the amount of ammo players would receive on average. So they've increased the kill requirements for both special and heavy ammo finders by 20% for Guardians in a fire team. Solo Guardians, however, have no one to cover them, so they've left that unchanged for if you're solo. So that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And the last little bit on here, Raid Armor. The narrow application of raid mods allows us to give them a potent benefit unique to the raids in which they are used. However, while these benefits are strong, they don't currently feel impactful enough in practice, especially since they may not fit into your existing builds. As a result, with the release of the final shape, they are making it much easier to layer these extra elements into your loadouts as you go for that perfect weapon roll. Removed all mod energy costs from the raid-specific armor mods on your raid armor. So that's pretty cool. At the moment, if you've got a raid piece of gear and you want to kind of use it in the raid, you have to kind of pay, don't you, to put an armor mod on that raid gear?
A raid armor mod, yeah.
Oh, but if you're in the raid, it costs 0? Oh, okay.
No, not on the...
No, but it's going to cost 0 to slot it from now on.
Yeah.
Oh, like the Artifice kind of thing. All right, cool.
Yeah. So you can... Yeah, it won't cost... So if you want to... I haven't got any examples of any kind of... I'm looking through my builds at the moment, like, where's there a piece of raid armor? I want to kind of just tell people about it. So, but yeah, it's...
No, why there's none in your builds? Because raid armor drops are absolutely terrible.
Yeah,
that's why. I thought I had a piece of raid gear.
You might do, but is it a good piece of raid gear?
It's an old raid item, so yeah.
I was actually discussing this the other day, and I said that raid armor needs a change, and that needs a rework to work the same as Pit of Heresy. So if you go into Pit of Heresy and you defeat the final boss, you get a piece of armor with 7 energy already on it, but it's guaranteed to have 2 spikes.
Above 20?
Yeah. And raid armor should be the same. You can't pick where the spike is, but it should always have 2 spikes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a raid. It's not like it's in-game activities or anything, you know? It's just a raid, you know?
Yeah, but go and do one of the easiest dungeons in the game and get that, but you can't do that in a raid.
Yeah.
I'm quite excited for that change, because it does help if you do find a piece of raid armor that is pretty decent, and you want to kind of build towards doing raid stuff, that you then don't have to spend like energy on that mod to use it in the raid. You can then put other stuff on, and that one as an additional one, which is quite nice.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't alleviate my vault space, because that's just giving me more incentive to collect the raid armor to then be able to put those mods in it. What I'd like to see from this going forward, Bungie, is that any raid armor should be able to put any raid mod slot in there, so that no matter what kind of raid I got it in, if it's a high stat of thing and I've collected it and I've got like a full set of raid armor, I should be able to put, like, if I'm going into the Vault of Glass or if I'm going into the Crota's End, I should be able to just kind of swap out the mods for that raid that I've then unlocked for whatever kind of armor pieces that I've got on.
Yeah, but you skipped over an important thing that you yourself said, and I don't think you realize the gravity of it. If it's a high rolled piece of armor, right?
Yeah.
And as he just stated, and as I support, that's not often in raids. You know?
No, but the thing is, if you are doing raids and things, you like properly, then you do collect the armor pieces, and you do have the mod slots in there, so that you could then it's meant to make the raid easier for you. So if you're doing the master versions, it's meant to help you do the master versions, I take it, because you could rock in there with any kind of armor at the moment and just do the normal versions, but to get the raid armor, to then put the mods into that raid armor to help you do the master versions easier than what they currently are, is how it should be. So
I'd still not use them even in master raids.
Potato.
Tomato, potato.
Yeah. But apparently that is the conclusion for everything that they have for this update. But that's a lie, because again, you've given us a This Week in Destiny, or the TWAB, as we like to call it, for the 23rd of May 2024, where you've detailed more stuff. So, this week in the TWAB, they say, have you seen the new ViDocs that we talked about at the beginning of the show? Because there was the one that was released on Thursday, and there's going to be another one today on Friday. Season of the Wish closing, which we've also talked about. Do you want to be part of the Twitch Rivals World's First Race stream? Because Respawn might want to do that. Extra brave weapons for all. Cool. We've gone through the abilities and armor tuning article, so we don't need to do that because that's also detailed in the TWAB. Pathfinder, how that's going to work, we will have a quick look at that and see all the information on that. Update to the quest tab. Reminder about legacy legendary shards. The Pantheon's last 2 gods are here, and we don't need to know what tickles Nezarek's feet. We just don't care. We just, that's it. We have a poster inspired by the Pantheon bosses. Well, they go through, this is what he was confronted with at birth, and this is the pain and suffering that they've gone through, and these are the areas of note. I don't care.
I agree.
Do you care?
Nezrek's a D-bag. Nah.
No, exactly.
Duke of Pound Sand.
So, the Pantheon, yeah, we've done that. I've got a poster inspired by the Pantheon bosses, which looks pretty cool. Check out their new collab with Steel Series and the Final Shape Downtime Notice. So, let's have a quick look at this. So, we've got the two ViDocs, yes, amazing. We've gone over the cutscene. Follow the world's first race on Twitch Rivals. So, the new raid is coming with the Final Shape. We'll take the fight to the witness and prevent its calamitous plans to end the world as we know it. The stakes are high, and the fire teams across the globe will compete and test their might to be the first group that completes the raid to take home the coveted world's first belt. Plus, Bungie also wanted to celebrate the occasion properly in partnership with Twitch Rivals, and they'll have their world's first race broadcast covering some of the streamers participating in the race, with commentary concluded by returning host Professor Broman and Rep1568. So, if you're a content creator and you want to be part of the event, you can sign up today. And they'll be open until June 3rd at 5 p.m. PT. Registration and approved creators will be provided with the following exclusive Twitch drops while the world's first race is taking place. So you get Stand-in Salvation Emblem. So if somebody watches your stream for 2 hours of any Destiny streamer, if you've got this activated, you'll get this lovely Stand-in Salvation Emblem. And also the Root Remains Emblem, which is watch at least 2 hours of a Destiny 2 Twitch Rivals stream or any participating Twitch Rivals creator. And that is both of them are between June 7th and June 9th at 9:30 a.m. PT for both, the 7th to the 9th. So yeah, you can get either one of those. Global Twitch badge is the Ghost Chat badge. Watch 15 minutes of the Final Shape raid. So you also get additional stuff. So you can get 2 emblems from just watching. And if Respawn signs up for this and finds a group just to us watch him bash his head trying to get into the raid for 2 hours, and we watch him do that, we will get these from just watching him. Not saying that I'm putting any pressure on Respawn here to actually do it for us, but I'm saying I'm putting pressure on Respawn to do it for us.
Yeah.
Have you two got your pretty guns yet? Because I've got none, but apparently the pretty guns are dropping exponentially up until June 3rd. I say June 3rd, more like June 2nd, because June 3rd, it's all going to be
just
turned off.
Right off.
Yeah, I don't know why we even exist on June 3rd. It's just June 2nd is the cutoff date for Destiny 2.
Well, June 3rd at reset anyway. So.
No, yeah, well, sort of. But earlier this week, they've increased the drop rate for the Brave weapons and trophies of bravery, as well as increasing the reputation gained with shacks. And this increase will remain until Destiny 2 Into the Light ends on June 3rd. Plus, I have heard that the shiny versions of these are dropping a lot more now. So the limited edition versions of the Brave weapons are loads of people are getting them, like 2 or 3 drops in a couple of hours. So I'm quite tempted to go in there, but I still got loads of kind of triumphs and seals that I kind of need to do, which is why I've kind of been playing Battlegrounds and things the last couple of days. So
you got to be kidding me! You're playing Battlegrounds?
I know. I missed all the Battleground stuff. I've still got to do my Vexcalibur. Bad me. What? So yes, they are doubling the drop chances of the limited edition versions of the Brave weapons on May 28th. So that, combined with the increase that they've made to the weapons and the token drops, will give you a lot of opportunities to grab a few more pretty guns with pretty rolls. And we've also detailed the abilities and armor tuning, so we don't need to kind of go over that again. But Pathfinder. What is Pathfinder, and how is Pathfinder, and who is Pathfinder?
And why is Pathfinder?
What is Pathfinder?
You said that already.
I know. I'm just repeating their title. So Pathfinder is the brand new pursuit system they're introducing in Destiny 2 that consolidates bounties, patrols, and weekly vendor challenges into one streamlined system that you can access anytime, anywhere, anyhow via the director. That anyhow was my bit I've just put in there.
I think
different Pathfinders can be accessed from relevant screens of the director by selecting the Pathfinder node or using the hotkeys for a quick, easy access to the system. So this is something that they did detail back, I want to say, over a year ago, when they were telling us about what they were thinking about doing with getting rid of bounties and things. And there was a point in time where they said, don't collect any bounties because, we've got new systems coming and then new systems weren't coming. I'm guessing that there was an issue, but it now seems to be that you can kind of do this part. Yeah, you should be able to kind of use this Pathfinder system in the final shape, which is pretty cool. We have got a few pictures in the TWAB going over how it kind of works. And it says when you open the Pathfinder, you'll be presented with 20 objectives divided into 5 tiers. So you start off, you can pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at the bottom and start off your kind of journey. And then it kind of goes all the way up to, on the first picture anyway, it shows you kind of a powerful engram or a pinnacle engram, leading to every Guardian's favourite thing, big shiny loot. To reach said loot, you must complete objectives and claim them to form a path from leftmost tier to the right. While you can progress through all objectives on the Pathfinder without restrictions, you'll need to claim at least one objective in each tier before you can claim an objective in the following tier. Every time you claim an objective, you will receive a reward, progressing your path towards the final reward and opening new potential paths. Building a path to the final reward allows you to claim it, and claiming the final reward opens a new opportunity for resetting your Pathfinder. So you have to kind of stick with a path, I guess, to start off with. And then once you've kind of done that, you can then go back and do a new path or reset it and do something else. So resetting your Pathfinder costs Glimmer, but it will give you a new set of objectives to complete and new final rewards to pursue. These new cards are built using a mixture of authorial controls and procedural generation. So once you start resetting, your card will diverge from those of the other Guardians. As long as you still have the Glimmer to do so, you can continue to reset your Pathfinder card after claiming the final reward as many times as you'd like to each week. But the value of the final rewards will diminish with each reset of your card to a point. However, with every weekly reset, the value of the final rewards will also reset. Your objective progress will be lost, and every Guardian will start the week with the same fresh card. So where is the Pathfinder? The final shape will launch with 2 Pathfinders, one available to all Guardians that replace the bounty system and weekly challenges for our core ritual activities, and one that you will be able to unlock in the Pale Heart as part of the expansions campaign. The ritual Pathfinders provide you with a set of objectives that span our ritual activities, so Vanguard Strikes, Nightfalls, Onslaught, Gambit, and Crucible. Oh, it's nice that they've put Onslaught in there, keeping it relative. Some of these objectives can be completed in any of these activities, while others require you to dive into a specific ritual or mode. An update later in the year of the final shape will make it even easier to get into these ritual screens whilst you are in their activities, as well as make it easier to access the ritual Pathfinder. While we don't want to reveal too much about the destination, you can expect the kind of objectives on the Pale Heart Pathfinder to roughly align with what you'd expect to see from destination bounties, with the addition of some new location-based objectives called field assignments. When field assignments are featured on your Pathfinder, you can expect them to be marked directly on the destination map, where you can track them to take advantage of our waypoint system to help navigate to their location. A bit like we kind of do at the moment. If we kind of tag something in our quest log, it kind of puts that green kind of shield on the planet and takes you to kind of where you kind of need to go. So it's a bit like that. Why is Pathfinder? So when we set out to build Pathfinder, we had 4 core goals. The first goal was to consolidate Destiny 2's enormous game that has evolved constantly over the last decade. Many pursuit systems have been added to the game over time, and these systems are accessed in a myriad of different ways that make it difficult for Guardians, experienced or not, to understand what they can be doing at any given point in time. We set out to build one system that has the capability of aligning all of these into one cohesive UI that you can always access from wherever you are. Their second goal was to give players more agency. So bounty systems in Destiny 2 typically let Guardians pick from a handful of fixed bounties that reset daily and provide repeatable bounties for those who wish to further engage with the system. These limited choices result in a system that feels prescriptive about how you should play. We want Guardians to feel ownership over their engagement with these systems, with the ability to chart a course that matches the goals of the player session. So with that in mind, our third goal was to make decisions that matter a bit more. Our existing pursuit system consists largely of disconnected individual objectives that have no effect on each other. In many cases, a Guardian's decision regarding these objectives are limited to doing or not doing a particular objective or spending Glimmer to re-roll repeatable bounties that they don't like. Pathfinder's path-based system incentivizes Guardians to complete objectives that they may otherwise be out of their comfort zone to achieve more direct path to their final reward. It also allows Guardians to forge a more elongated path around objectives that don't call out to them. As their options diminish closer to the final reward, Guardians will be challenged to engage with a particular activity, mode, or playlist to acquire more rewards. And finally, our fourth goal was to reduce the barriers because, let's face it, much of our time as Guardians is spent zipping between destination to prepare for the game. Flying to the tower, flying to the helm, flying to Europa, so on and so forth. So with Pathfinder, you already have your objectives, and they're always progressing as you play. Whether they are locked or unlocked, there is no need to visit a vendor or use the Destiny app to grab bounties, no need to balance your inventory or quests and bounties, and no need to travel to vendors to claim your rewards for a weekly challenge. So about the Destination Pathfinder. The rewards are designed to encourage completing many paths over many objectives in each Pathfinder, and if you want to maximise your weekly rewards, your best bet is to plan your optimal path. So, objective rewards, 25 vendor reputation and 4,000 XP. We have Pathfinder completion reward is the first path. So you get a redacted exotic, a powerful tier 3 engram, the Power Heart gear, a 1 rank of vendor reputation, and 25,000 XP. Second path is redacted exotic, the Power Heart engram focusable, 375 vendor reputation, and 25,000 XP. Third path is the Power Heart engram focusable, 375 vendor reputation, and 25,000 XP. And then the Pathfinder completions 1 through 3 repeatable is a World Legendary engram, 150 vendor reputation, and 4,000 XP. So those are your rewards. The objectives, the different categories, we've got calibration, directly replaces bounties, most common objectives category on the Power Heart Pathfinder. And the example that they're giving is in the Power Heart, defeat combatants of a certain faction. And in the Power Heart, defeat combatants using weapons that match your subclass damage type. So much like we've kind of got now with how bounties work, it's going to be very similar with the objectives. Field assignments, players must go to the location in the Power Heart and complete a custom encounter that only appears while the objective is active. This is the second most common objective category on the Power Heart Pathfinder. And as an example, in the Power Heart, travel to Redacted and claim a reward for defeating Redacted. In the Power Heart, travel to Redacted and complete the something redacted event. And ventures are destination-focused activities and objectives, only 2 per Power Heart Pathfinder, only appear in the tier before the final reward. And the example that they've given in the Power Heart, progress through the Redacted, activate the activity and loot the chest. Complete the redacted objective grants additional progress. I'm not sure if I like the fact that each Guardian is going to be different. I don't know about you two.
What do you mean?
Well, it says that
like bounties and whatnot?
Well, it says, yeah, I mean, I suppose with bounties and things, as a kind of team, you could go, right, I'm going to go pick up all these bounties, and you could kind of all go and do the same kind of bounties and do the same kind of things. But with our Pathfinders, it says that they kind of do split off, and Guardians will be different from each other. I'm not sure if that's helpful if you're kind of sticking with a fire team, if you see what I mean.
Oh, you mean like all you getting it done at the same time kind of thing?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I mean, I don't so much mind that because, to be honest, like the problem with going with a fire team to do bounty
or whatever. Good, man.
Is you always end up fighting with some nugget trying to get your kills. Like, you know, you'll be sat there, you'll be like, all right, I just need 5 more hand cannon kills. I'll just wander off over here into a quiet corner. And then somebody always turns up and goes, yeah, I need heavy weapon kills. Yeah, right, cool, nice one, thank you. Yeah, that's really helpful. So, I don't, personally, I don't mind being separate away from people.
Fair enough.
You know, keep it quiet.
Bro, faded out at the end there. I don't mind that.
Yeah, I really don't.
I don't mind.
Leave me alone.
So, ritual activities, Crucible, Gambit, and Vanguard vendor bounties will be replaced by the Unified Ritual Pathfinder. A single instance of Pathfinder will contain the objectives specific to each ritual activity, as well as generic objectives that can be completed in any of the 3 ritual activities. Additionally, on weeks that there is an active reputation booster, the first 3 instances of the Pathfinder will contain more objectives associated with the ritual activity. So, I'm gonna say Gambit because they say Crucible. So, if Gambit is the reputation booster active, Pathfinder will contain more Gambit-specific objectives until after the 3rd reset. Completing an objective node awards experience, like individual bounty completions. Completing a path is designated to be akin to completing a weekly vendor bounty, i.e. completion of rewards including prime engrams, bright dust, and experience. However, where vendor challenges are limited to 3 per week, Pathfinder progress is shared across all the characters I was going to say all 3 characters, yeah. All 3 characters, and is infinitely repeatable. Due to these differences, the rewards amounts have been redistributed accordingly. So the first 3 completions each week will give you a Prime Engram, Enhancement Prism, 150 Bright Dust, and 25,000 XP. The next 7 completions, if you want to do that, is Enhancement Prisms, 150 Bright Dust each time, I guess this is, and 4,000 XP. And then subsequent completions is Enhancement Core, 30 Bright Dust, and 4,000 XP. So that's a bit like doing the repeatable bounties, I guess. We hope you now have a better understanding of what Pathfinder is and how it will change how you play ritual activities and explore the new destination. We can't wait for you to all experience in just a few days. And as always, feel free to give us your feedback when you have tried it. When you have tried it, Respawn.
No.
Yes.
No.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the only negative thing I've got to say about it, why include Gambit if you're just going to leave Gambit to die in a sloppy heap of its own crappiness?
Wow, that's a lot of aggressiveness towards Gambit. Just wow. Wow. I don't remember them saying anything about that regarding Gambit.
They're not touching Gambit, are they? They're just going to leave it there to just sit and
you're making
do
an assumption, and that's a little Gambit-ist, if I'm being honest, okay?
It's not an assumption. They've already said that they're not going to touch it again.
Well, for now anyway, they're not going to touch it. But what they are going to touch is updating the quest tab, because we probably don't need all the bounty stuff, but we might do. And they've already shed some light on the UI and UX changes coming with the final shape, particularly on how the on-screen information channel has been updated to show buffs, debuffs, and weapon perks in a more organised way. So let's talk about some other quality of life changes that they have introduced in the quest tab. So starting on June 4th, players will be able to set any quest category on the left column as the default when you enter the quest tab. At the same time, all milestones will now show up on the quest tab, although they will not count towards the total amount of quest bounties that a player can hold in their inventory, and will still be able to hold up to 63 in total. For players who want to keep everything more organised, we've also updated the quest tab so that the tracking quest individual categories will now bring them to the front of the sort order in the quest tab. And last but not least, if you hover over quest in the quest tab, it will let you know when you can launch it directly from the detail screen. So now it's more straightforward to get from checking it to playing it. These changes to the quest tab are not only quality of life changes they've made into menus, we've also integrated reputation boosts into the ritual activities node at the top of the director screen. When those are active through an episode, players will get information at a glance. And speaking of ritual activities, they've also redesigned the private match screen for both Crucible and Gambit to allow for a greater ease of use and more customizable options that will give some players rewards. They hope you like them. And use your legendary shards, boys and girls, guardians and gardenesses, because it's time to get rid of them. They are going. And remember when they told you that legendary shards would go away at the end of the Season of the Wish? Guess what? That's less than 2 weeks away, because that's only about a week from when this podcast comes out. So it's time to put those shards to good use, because you won't be able to use them once the final shape has launched. And our recommendation is, well, not our recommendation, but their recommendation is buy raid banners for a lifetime or exchange them for some resources at Rahul. But please use them before it's too late. Yes, please use them. And yeah, the final Pantheon bosses are here. So Riven of 1,000 Voices and and Nezarek, final God of Pain.
Why do you say it like that?
Because I want to. They're here, and we have some intel, we have some hazards, and of note. So if you want to look at that, that's in the TWAB, and all the links will be in the show notes later on, along with all the other stuff that we've kind of talked about today. So this is your weekly rundown of Season 23, Week 27, Season of the Wish. For the final week of the season, there will be bonus XP across all game modes, Gambit, Vanguard, and Crucible. Also, with this being the final week, don't forget to collect all your Season of the Wish pass items, any Into the Light items from the Hall of Champions shacks and our site 9940, any items from the Helm vendors, plus your reward track items and engrams from the Tower vendors. Don't forget to complete, collect, and spend your Riven's Wish tokens. Use up all your legendary shards as they are being removed with the final shape, and finish up those trials for your seals and seasonal challenges for a large pile of bright dust. Grab these before the end of the season as they will reset and you will lose all items when the final shape begins. Plus, don't forget your last free pile of 700 bright dust from the Eververse store. Also, you have one more week to grab all your seasonal red border weapons before the helm resets, one more week to see if you're up to the challenge for the PvE raid gauntlet, and one more week to collect the super black shader and as many brave weapons from the Horde game mode Onslaught. This week also sees the third week of the exotic mission 0 Hour, where players can pick up the third perk for the craftable version of the Outbreak Perfected. For our Legacy rotation, the Dreaming City this week is at a medium curse level. Petriventure will be in the Devilian Mist with the Oracle Engine mission. The Blindwell features Hive enemies and the Plague, Korregar. The Ascendant Challenge will be the Chimera Garrison over in the Chamber of Starlight Lost sector. On the Moon, the weekly story mission is a mysterious disturbance. The Trove Guardian is located in the Anchor of Light, while the Wandering Nightmare is the Fallen Council in Archer's Line. Nightmare hunts Fogoth, Fear, Korota, Despair, and Fanatic Insanity. On Europa this week, Phylax the Warrior will be the Empire Hunt, Asterian's Abyss will be the Eclipse Zone, and the Exo Challenge will be Agility. Dares of Eternity legendary rounds are Taken, Cabal, and Zydron. The Scatterhorn armor set and the Perfectus armor set will be available in Dares of Eternity with Weapon Set 2. Scaithlock, Extraordinary Rendition, Brass Attacks, Threaded Needle, Code Duello, Imperial Needle, Far Future, Honor's Edge, Distant Terminus, Interference 6, Shepherd's Watch, and Annual Skate. The Witch Queen weekly story mission is The Last Chance, Altar of Reflection's Choice, and Altar of Reflection's Pact. The Lightfall weekly mission is First Contact, the Partition mission will be Ordnance, and the Vex incursion will be Umshire Park. The Karota's End raid challenge this week is the first encounter, Enter the Abyss, called Conservation of Energy. The Root of Nightmares raid challenge this week is the second encounter, Scission, called Crossfire. The Val the Disciple challenge this week is the third encounter, the Upender, called Defense is Down. The Vault of Glass challenge this week is the fifth encounter, Atheon, called In Symboler's Refrain. The Deep Stone Crypt challenge this week is the first encounter, Crypt Security, called Red Rover. The Garden of Salvation challenge this week is the first encounter, Embrace, called To the Top. And the Lost Wish challenge this week is the fourth encounter, Vault, called Keep Out. Your pinnacle raid will be King's Fall over in the Legends tab, with all challenges available for each encounter, with the exotic scout rifle Touch of Malice being farmable from the final boss. The pinnacle dungeon will be the Grasp of Avarice over on the Cosmodrome. The exotic mission rotator will be Vox Obscura, with the Dead Messenger exotic grenade launcher being the main reward. The Season of the Risen weapon set, plus the Tusk Allegiance armor set. The exotic missions, the Whisper and 0 Hour, are also available over in Into the Light node. Lost Sectors, Tuesday Thrillerdrome on Neptune for exotic boots. Wednesday Gilded Precept on Neptune for exotic gauntlets. Thursday Scavenger's Den on the EDZ for exotic chests. Friday Skydot 4 on the EDZ for exotic helmets. Saturday The Quarry on the EDZ for exotic boots. Sunday Fillion's Rest on the Dreamy City for exotic gauntlets. And Monday Bay of Drowned Wishes on the Dreamy City for exotic chests. Also, this week's weapon rotation will start on set 3 on Tuesday's reset. Our final featured Nightfall will see us face off against the Taken Hydra Parthenos in the Hypernet Current on Neptune, with the Izanami RR4 Sniper being the featured weapon. The 6v6 Control playlist will be Control, Momentum Control in the Party Relentless playlist, Hardware Supremacy in Crucible Labs, New Territory Game Rotation in the 3v3 playlist during the week, and Trials of Size at the weekend, with Sirius Plaza as the featured map. And as a reminder, before the Final Shape launches, Destiny 2 will be brought offline for 24 hours, starting at 9 AM PST on June 3rd.
Alright, we have, so 8 gods and 1 amazing poster. We have prepared something very special to celebrate the glorious reveal of the last bosses of the Pantheon. We partnered with Gabriel Laudzino, an amazing Brazilian artist whose work around raid bosses you probably already are familiar with, to create an amazing piece of art. Behold, the Pantheon in all of its glory. And I love this artistic style that these guys have, man. Like, I really do. That's pretty cool artistic style. So, is it a display? It is display! Yo, I'm getting it right now. All right, cool. And that's not all. We also collaborated with our wonderful friends at Display to make this into a metal poster so you can display this incredible piece of art on your wall. Starting tomorrow, May 24th, Display will have the Pantheon poster available at their store, including a format with their new 3D enhanced texture finish. Yo, am I going to get Godslayer title? Probably not. Am I going to get a Godslayer poster? Oh, hell yes. Additionally, the Destiny 2 community is filled with incredibly talented artists, and we love partnering with them. So if you want to know more about Gabriel and his work on the Pantheon poster, we'll have a community focus with him next week. Now, your favorite killer robot. So did you have a nice time with Trevor, the overzealous robotic vacuum cleaner? We asked the community to share some of their favorite Trevor moments now that we have 0 Hour exotic mission available, and oh, our dear guardians, did you deliver? Your submissions really made our day. Lego Trevor is coming for you. So there's some videos here about different Trevors doing different things. I'm not going to describe them all. Go to the Bungie site, take a look at them. It's worth it. It's pretty cool. Now, our latest collaboration is here. We have Destiny 2 and Steel Series are back with a new collection of limited edition gaming accessories inspired by the themes of light and darkness within the final shape. We have different accessories this time. We have the Arctis Nova 7 wireless headset, the Nova booster pack, the QCK Heavy XXL mousepad, a ghost-themed Steel Series artisan keycap. Keycap for what? Just okay. It is a key, and the Control Freak Performance thumbsticks. Alrighty. So that's all a thing. And customers who purchase the collection will receive an exclusive in-game cosmetic for Destiny 2, such as the Viral Celebration emote and the Gear Head emblem. The Destiny 2 Final Shape X Steel Series collection is available at steelseries.com, controlfreak.com, and bungiestore.com. The Final Shape 24-hour downtime. 24-hour downtime. If you thought you was going to immediately play like all these other scrub-a-dub-dubs think they do on reset, then you're not only going to be disappointed, you're going to be severely disappointed. Because Bungie will have a 20 before the Final Shape begins. Not 1 hour, not 2 hours, not 3 hours. A lot of hours. All of the hours. Some people might even say 24 of them. Player support report. That is going to be my friend here. So you can continue with that.
Yep. So you've got pony error codes. We've been investigating an issue where players can receive invites that result in a pony error code. While we work on a permanent fix, we recommend turning off friend and clan requests in your settings under the social area and setting Fireteam invites to friends only, or whatever you prefer. We are working to resolve this issue as soon as possible. A reminder to claim your seasonal rewards. Season of the Wish and Into the Light end soon. Make sure you claim any expiring rewards before they are gone, including seasonal seals and rewards, seasonal pass items, seasonal vendor rewards, Shax, Zavala, Drifter, and Saint 14 rewards, Banshee 44 reputation items, and Bungie rewards. Now, I'm not 100% sure on how I did this anymore, but I did get told that if you use Mozilla Firefox, there is an extension that you can get for Mozilla that allows you to go back to previous seasons, not just the current 3 that we've got, and claim anything from past seasons also that you have missed. I don't really remember.
They have, that is a thing, but you can only go back. You used to go back like all the seasons. Now I think you're limited to the last 2.
Does it not do it anymore?
I think you're limited to the last 2, or not at all. It's been a minute since I've checked. But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know Mozilla used to have it. I haven't used it because I know Bungie integrated it into their own website, didn't they? That you could go back, but you could only go back to these seasons.
Yeah.
So I'm not too sure whether that still works or not, but I know it did. Destiny Content Vault updates. With the start of Year 7 in Destiny 2 on June the 4th, 2024, certain items will depreciate from player inventories that correspond with vaulted activities and seasonal campaigns. They will be removed and put into the Destiny Content Vault. We have updated the Destiny Content Vault article to reflect these changes. We've also created a new article fully outlining items being depreciated at the start of Year 7 for players to reference. Some known issues. While we continue investigating various known issues, here is a list of the latest issues that were reported to us in the Help Forum. Capturing a zone in the Collision PvP game mode while having full super energy will slightly reduce super energy, and Tormentors can push turrets away in an Onslaught with their slam or grab attacks. A full list of emergent issues in Destiny 2. Review our known issues article. If you observe other issues, please report them to our Help Forum. So there you go.
There you go.
There you got the artist of the week there. a lovely tomato. Actually, I really like that. That's really cool.
The tomato one, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They're not my friends. I'm not a fan of them. But
what, tomatoes?
Yeah. In saying people who are not my friends, let's go ahead and thank you for joining us. Your Titans are normally Peroty and Nitedemon. Peroty decided he doesn't like us anymore and instead has been replaced with a warlock by the name of Noble. Your hunter is yours truly. No one respawns in real life. And we're on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook as Two Titans and a Hunter. The email is twotitansandahunter@hotmail.com. Find the show wherever you can get your podcasts. And I mean, wherever there's a podcast, we gonna be there. And follow us on YouTube for each new episode, our weekly update videos and live streams at twotitansandahunter.com. We're just Two Titans and a Hunter on YouTube. We also have a website, twotitansandahunter.com. If you want to join the Otter Dance Troupe or threaten us with a good time and throw more grenades, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/TTAH. Now, if you're looking for a more casual encounter, ko-fi.com/Two Titans and a Hunter, where you can just donate whatever the hell you want to donate. And if you want the thrill of live action, spicy language, handsomeness, Brazilian women, threats of violence, and naughty language, then head over to my stream at No One Respawns in Real Life, all spelled out on Twitch. And if you want to keep it family friendly like a proper British gentleman, head over to twitch.tv/Two Titans and a Hunter. Nitedemon sometimes streams on twitch.tv at Two Titans and a Hunter between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., and that would be 5 a.m. and 9 a.m. Eastern. And I stream whenever, but usually Saturdays at 9 Eastern time for the show, if nothing else. Our patrons, who you can't threaten with a good time. We have 2 new people that are encouraging all the threats. In total, we have Zep Orbit, Calvin Burns, J Slice 07, or IRK NARB07. These names are nutty. Or K4. Nice. Our otter, I can't spell. What is with the stroke today? Our otter dance troupe is the T-Rex King, the Scarlet KM, Mellow Mally, Dedicated Wham, and Renard Colon. And if you want to throw more grenades, my wife, if you want to throw more grenades, we have Carver 2782, Golden God 1562, Winoble, what's up, bro? Basically NACL, Fire Squad 1688, and Cotterson 105. And we are getting closer to the final shape, so if you're looking to spice up your raid team, well, Deacon's got you covered with her day 1 raid team. Currently, we have Dimwee, Gravy Jeff, and PP Pipe. There are 3 people short of a full team. We need to help them out. Come join the Patreon. Come help us out. Allow us to give you more of the respawn that you desire, that you need in your life. And, just come hang out. Spend time with us. In addition, what's not in here is that if you join any of the Patreons, you get first dibs whenever we're looking for groups to do things, or at least I do. I always go to Patreon first. Whenever we're looking for groups to do things, people to run things with, if anybody needs help, etc. There's a special Patreon-only channel inside our Discord, and I do believe Nitedemon has even begun releasing the show early to those people in the Patreon channel. So if you need the fix sooner than everybody else, that's how you get it. Other than that, Noble, say deuces.
Deuces.
Respawn, say deuces. Deuces. Nitedemon, say deuces. He can't because he's invisible. And we will see y'all next time. Ta-ta.
Two Titans Titans and a Hunter, a Destiny 2 podcast.